Star reviews and get moving. Call Gloria Lou today at 314-325-6888. That's 314-325-6888, or visit gloriahasthebuyers.com. Conditions.
Hey, welcome to our selfie wall.
Yeah, that looks great. Okay, today's YouTube live chat poll is asking, whose cocaine was it? Was it a White House visitor's cocaine, Hunter Biden's cocaine, a staffer, or it doesn't matter whose cocaine it was? This might be my favorite poll question we've ever had. Once again, the options are White House visitor, Hunter Biden, staffer, or it doesn't matter. At 12:25, Hans von Spakovsky is going to join us. He is the senior legal fellow at the Heritage Foundation. We speak with him every Thursday. I can't wait to see his reaction to the cocaine and all the other madness going on at the White House and on Capitol Hill. Liggins?
We're going to talk about the Supreme Court ruling with Hans von Spakovsky. We're also going to talk to him about, what was the other thing I wanted to ask him about? Oh, the whistleblower stuff.
Okay.
The idea that Hunter Biden and Joe Biden, should they have been selling their access to foreign countries for their own personal profit, the fact that they can't actually be prosecuted for that anymore. That's crazy.
What are you going to talk about in Wiggins America at 12:45?
A little bit lighter, but definitely something that we all deal with. Ways to trick your brain into liking working out.
Oh, boy. That should be interesting.
Yeah.
At 1:05.
I think we probably, without the list, I think we've probably all tried these before. And we'll see,
I'll be curious.
if you've tried them, if they're successful, that kind of stuff.
I'll see if my trick made it on the list.
Yeah.
At 1:05, we hope to connect with Tyrus. And then at 2:25, Trisha's going to come into the studio and play Annie, Are You Okay? Super excited for that segment. And then at the end of the show, of course, I will deliver the poll results to the question, whose cocaine was it? Visitors, Hunter Biden, staffer, or it doesn't matter. So comment throughout the show. I will be looking for your answers and responses. I'm sure there'll be some witty ones in there. And I'll deliver those poll results at 2:45.
Yep. Should be. Thursdays are always fun, so stick around.
Great.
And Target. Claims based on traditional homeopathic practice, not accepted medical evidence, not FDA evaluated.
Go with your gut. Your dog's immune system is based in the gut. A diet lacking in nutrients can cause itching, scratching, and a weak immune system. However, there is a solution. DINOVITE. Dinovite.
It took a grand total of 2 weeks. The dog stopped itching, the hair stopped falling out.
Try Dinovite for free. Just pay shipping and handling. Learn more at dinovite.com/radio.
Happier, healthier with every bite. Over 1 million pets helped with Dinovite.
Air Comfort Service, heating, cooling, and insulation. Weather.
Chief Meteorologist Dave Murray.
Partly sunny skies this afternoon. It's a little cooler than we have been, and we'll take that. 85 degrees. Still could be a spot thunderstorm, but that action is moving away. Tonight, delightful, partly cloudy skies. Beautiful evening. 62 for the overnight low. Friday, partly sunny. Nice for summer, 85. But we've got periods of showers and thunderstorms in play Friday evening, Friday night, Saturday, and Sunday. This is 97.1 FM Talk. Chief Meteorologist Dave Murray.
Hey guys, Glover here from my friends at ThrottleNet. So I'm so very proud to have represented the guys at ThrottleNet for all of these years. They are the IT geniuses. George and Mike are the owners. Fantastic guys. They can do all of your IT. They can do a portion of your IT. They have the best Apple support team. Their response time is under 2 minutes. Think about that, under 2 minutes. Something goes sideways with your IT, and they are solving your problem. And they're solving your problem within 2 minutes. Now, let's talk about cybersecurity. Most companies in St. Louis don't have cyber liability insurance. You get hit, you're on the hook, you're probably out of business. With ThrottleNet, if we represent you, we protect you. The first $500,000 that someone hits you for, which isn't going to happen, but if it does, we pay it. $500,000. That's what you're covered for with ThrottleNet. Go to throttlenet.com/DGS for all the information.
If you need solid hires fast,
You need Indeed. The all-in-one hiring solution makes it easy to attract, interview, and hire candidates from the same place. Want to find your next great hire? Visit Indeed.com/credit.
This hour of the Annie Frey Show is brought to you by Ruler Foods. Low prices, no coupons. Ruler Foods.
That is exactly what I needed to hear.
Thank God someone here knows what they're talking about.
That's us. That's right. Gotta love this American ride.
All right, you need to take the time and get the full picture.
Come on, turn the radio on. It's Saturday and I won't be long.
Don't get me wrong, I love the ladies. I mean, they rev my engine, but they don't belong in the newsroom. It is Anchor Man, not Anchor Lady.
What do you want from me? I'm not America's sweetheart.
Goodness sake, kid. Keep your voice down. Your father's listening to the radio.
I'm not America's sweetheart.
This is the Annie Frey Show.
There's an outside perimeter of security. They have badges. Everybody has a badge. There are multiple cameras going on through this. You don't just get to walk around the West Wing, even if you're staff, without a heavy presence of the Secret Service and a distinct understanding of who's going where and why. And so I think they already know where it is. I think they're trying to wait for the DNA evidence. That doesn't happen in just a half a day or a day. But the Secret Service, I do believe, knows at this point who this person is.
So Jason Chaffetz there talking about the cocaine in the White House. Cocaine White House. We said that yesterday, and Ryan Wiggins said that sounds like a band name. And we kind of debated on what kind of music that band would play. Cocaine White House. There's a lot of directions you can take it. That's today's YouTube live chat poll on the Annie Frey Show. Thanks for joining us at the Thursday. And it's very important for you to remember today's a Thursday because I keep forgetting that it is, in fact, a Thursday. I'm having Hannah come in here because there are a lot of comments coming in right now. Do you have the ability to pull the comments up?
Yes, hold on.
Because we're getting a ton of them. And I want to make sure that we get to some of your feedback here early in the show. On the Annie Frey Show YouTube live chat poll, big question of the day. Whose cocaine was it? You have 4 options. Was it a White House visitor? Was it Hunter Biden? Was it a staffer? Or it doesn't matter. So come on to the Annie Frey live broadcast on YouTube. Vote in the live chat poll. Leave your comments. Hannah, why don't you feature a couple of folks who have weighed in so far?
Yeah, we really do have a ton coming in already.
People have thoughts.
Yes. Jackie, right off the bat, said, I think it is highly likely that the cocaine belonged to Hunter. His presence at the White House is hard to ignore. Quote, truth is stronger than the fiction. KK says, I said Hunter because of the lack of information coming out and really doesn't matter. Nothing will happen. As I have read lately, yeah.
And he gets a little more elaborate there.
Sheepdog says that he answered that it doesn't matter. They'll never say who it was anyway. Wavy says, if we never find out who it was, that is 100% sure sign that it was Hunter.
Good point there, Wavy, because this is the culture that has been created in this country, which is kind of the point here. Because I'm getting messages from you, listeners, right now, on both sides of the aisle. The cocaine story doesn't matter. It's a cover-up. The only reason why they're talking about cocaine in the White House is because there are some really huge stories out there that we're not talking about when it comes to Hunter Biden. And then on the other side, I have people saying, why are we not talking more about cocaine in the White House and who has it there? What we have created is an atmosphere where nobody is going to believe the outcome of whatever this story is reported on. If the worst way to accuse Hunter Biden of this is if we just try to forget it as a whole. And if the reports on it that come from all of the media start to dissipate, maybe outside of Fox News and some hosts that like to dunk on the fact that Hunter Biden is the train wreck that he is. One of the options in today's YouTube live chat poll is it doesn't matter whose cocaine it was. Do we still care about decency in our White House? And if you're going to care about decency in the White House, you can't just start caring about it now. I know a lot of people who have been concerned about the idea of decency in the White House. I mean, the greatest example that I would go back to is probably the 90s and President Clinton, and the idea that decency wasn't really top tier when it comes to the biggest stories that came out of the Bill Clinton presidency. But does it matter to you whose cocaine it was inside the White House? Hannah, what do you think?
Me personally?
Do you need to know?
I do need to know, and I have a strong feeling that it's Hunter Biden. I don't think they're ever going to come out and say that, though. No matter what. Even if it's 1,000%, they have evidence against him, it's not going to be released that it was his.
What do you think, Brad?
My guess is it's a staffer. I think it's a staffer.
Really?
Yeah, I think that the cocaine use in Washington, D.C. is way more prevalent than any of us would ever imagine. Or maybe we got great imaginations, but I think that it's incredibly prevalent there. And I think that it's likely that it's a staffer's, but I also think it's almost 100% that there's a staffer that is going to take the fall for this, even if it is Hunter's, because like Wavy was saying, if they don't know whose it is, it's 100% Hunter's.
How do they
and
not
can't
know whose it is?
Well, that's the other
question. Can you
question.
do cocaine in the White House and nobody knows? Yeah, that seems wild.
They have to know.
They haven't determined where it was. They haven't told us where it was found.
No, I've heard so many, like we found it in a library. We found it in these cubbies where
yeah, but that's all the people with the clue memes.
Yeah.
I saw when it was ridiculous. Hunter Biden in the library with a straw. I don't know if that's true, but I don't know that it's not true. I don't know. But that's the whole point. Hannah, continue to set aside some of these comments as we go through, because I have a feeling that there are going to be a lot of them. And Hannah keeps her eye on your thoughts throughout the entire show on the Annie Frey YouTube live chat. So we will continue to follow those. And your votes. The poll question today, if you go to the Annie Frey YouTube poll, which is located in today's live broadcast, is whose cocaine was it? White House visitor, Hunter Biden, staffer, or doesn't matter? I think staffer is the most likely outcome here, because I don't believe that this is the first time there's been cocaine in the White House. I mean, this is the first time that it was found. And regardless of whether it was Hunter Biden's or not, this is the rule book, the playbook, I should say. Oh, we don't have rule books. We have playbooks. This is the playbook that they use against Donald Trump. They create a massive cloud of negative energy around Donald Trump so that you could throw anything out there and people say, sounds like Trump. Well, guess what, Hunter Biden? You've got a cloud around you, too. And it's one of drugs and prostitutes and reckless spending and a lifestyle that is a very sad existence for people to observe. The story that I think is not being talked about so that this cocaine thing can soak up the oxygen in the room, if you kind of start to watch the news cycle, the way somebody who doesn't have a choice but to pay attention to it all the time, there are these super salacious stories that bubble up one after the other, and they don't have a long shelf life. I don't think that in 2 weeks we're going to be talking about whose cocaine it was in the White House. We're going to be talking about something else that makes you go, oh, I can't believe that. And then you go, well, I can kind of believe that. If you want to cloud the Hunter Biden Google searches, if you want to cloud the Biden Google searches with news articles that might suggest that Hunter Biden had cocaine in the White House, at this point, is it really incredibly shocking that it's possible that somebody who's a cocaine addict who's living in the White House might have cocaine in the White House? I don't know that it's shocking, but I also don't think that it's the most likely outcome. I don't know what the cultural value of belaboring this story and being, aghast and pearl clutching about the idea that there are people in Washington, D.C. that are doing these types of drugs, even if it is Hunter Biden. Because we've got this problem everywhere. This problem exists for people who have access, who have the means, and who have the balls, basically, to go in and do something like this. And I think that Washington, D.C. is filled with individuals who are bold and brazen and apart from the lifestyle that you and I lead here in flyover country. certainly not everybody, but there are people who are part of a bureaucracy who live there, and they go administration to administration or office to office when new people get elected and other people don't get reelected or they retire. And there are people who live in this existence, and it's grueling, and it's, from the outside looking in, it might seem like, oh, this is where all the power is and this is where all of the energy is. But it doesn't. I don't know many people who come from here who go into Washington, D.C. and come out being like, that's my favorite place. It's kind of soul-sucking. It's a tough job for people who leave, their Midwestern roots or their, desert districts or their whatever cultural difference they have to go to this place that sucks people in. And you just have to work in an environment that isn't like the place where you come from. There are people who go there and are changed by Washington, D.C. There are people who go there to change Washington, D.C. And there are people who leave there because they refuse to let Washington, D.C. change them. Cocaine isn't at the bottom of every one of these stories. But I think it's at the bottom of a lot more of these stories than you and I would relate to. It's just not something that we encounter on our daily basis. And there are some of you who do have a more up close and personal look at something like that. I think the likelihood of this story being less salacious than it would be on the surface, I think it's a high likelihood that this was somebody whose name you'll never recognize in a place that was pretty innocuous to the broader picture. But the fact that we have the son of the president of the United States living in the people's house, all the cocaine, the photos from the laptop, the women, all of it, all of the debauchery set aside, that is one man's drastic struggle with addiction. And I don't know, debauchery is the best word that I can come up with. It's one man's choice. It's one man's addiction. I think it's a very, very sad story. But within that lifestyle exists questions that do affect you and me. If the Biden family did what Hunter Biden himself said that they did, Hunter Biden and Joe Biden together, my father is sitting here next to me, shaking down a Chinese official for $5 million that we know was deposited into family bank accounts. If that was going on, and we are now in a state in our culture where we're using the veil of addiction as a political play for empathy and sympathy, so that the other politicos who don't want to be collateral damage in this investigation or potentially questioned for any sort of involvement, if they're using this and Hunter's lifelong troubles as a shield, we have a long way to go. With our media that wants to pursue truth over narrative, which we don't have right now, with our idea and understanding of what is inherently right versus what is inherently wrong. And at the centermost part of why this is a concern to you, whether you walk the Republican lifestyle, the Democrat lifestyle, you're active in politics, or you tune into this show to hear, the goofy stuff and the fun play around stuff that we do in and out of any given segment. This does concern you, because I guarantee you, if it can be proven that the Biden family over decades and decades of time were able to enrich themselves because of the positions that they held in government, and those who didn't serve, like Hunter Biden and Joe Biden's brother, being at the center of this business, if they were able to utilize Joe Biden's position and stature in government to make themselves wealthy, I promise you they're not the only ones who figured out that system. We didn't catch the one family who is doing this. And in fact, the bureaucracy that exists in our government that stays from administration to administration, the background people, if you talk to Jason Chaffetz, who we played there, he's got a book out called The Puppeteers, the people who control America. If you understand the consistency that exists there and how to manipulate that situation to make yourself wealthy if you have access to that power, then this country isn't by the people and for the people. Then this country is for the elite. It's for the people who have access and the ability to preserve power. That is a huge problem. Those weeds need to be pulled yesterday. And my understanding is that the accusations that are based on evidence from Hunter Biden's own personal communications, the accusations that exist there, should they be pursued, are beyond the statute of limitations. And the whistleblower that we hear from the IRS, along with David Weiss, were trying to pursue this investigation and were stopped at every turn, which means that there are people in the bureaucracy working to protect the Biden family. What interest do they have in protecting the Biden family over the country that they've sworn an oath to? It is my understanding that the statute of limitations on that treachery that is alleged of the Joe Biden family is past the statute of limitations and couldn't be prosecuted in a court of law. It can absolutely be charged and impeached in the political court, which is Congress. And all of this should matter to you. Every bit of it. The next election has to be about ending this type of generational access to bureaucratic power that disenfranchises the voter, the taxpayer, that disenfranchises you. Hans von Spakovsky is going to join us when we come back. And I'm going to ask him to clarify anything that I just said there to make sure that I'm on the money or that I am wrong. Is it possible, if it is proven that Hunter Biden was working on behalf of his father, who he said he was sitting next to when he was shaking these people down, did the Biden family make money personally off of influencing our policy based on foreign interests? If it can be proven, can they be charged for it? Or are they getting off scot-free? We'll talk to Hans von Spakovsky about that when we come back. Don't go away.
You're listening to The Annie Frey Show on St. Louis's home for conservative talk. Find the podcast, on-demand audio, and more at 971talk.com/Annie.
The Retirement Advisory Group is inviting you to set up an appointment with them so that you can get your retirement to where you are comfortable with it. If you're nearing retirement right now, the Retirement Advisory Group online at retirementkey.com wants to sit down with you and tell you what they can do for you. Free, no charge. Are you nearing retirement and wondering how long all of that savings that you have is going to last? Maybe you're a little fretting about losing your nest egg when there's another market correction that exists. The Retirement Advisory Group will help you build your own personalized structured income plan. You put your trust into the Retirement Advisory Group, into the hands of Thomas Helbig, of Bob Kershaw, of Tammy Kershaw, and you'll understand why many Annie Frey Show listeners and 97.1 listeners over the years have said, yes, the Retirement Advisory Group is the place for my retirement. I want it to be safe. I want it to be protected. I want to be worry-free. The Retirement Advisory Group is there to make sure that you are taken care of. You can work with them. Their confidence has been built over the course of 37 years, and you can take part of that, and I encourage you to give them the shot. You can sign up online at retirementkey.com.
Updating your home with James Hardie Siding has never been more popular. With all of the options available, you need a partner to maximize your investment. The rising prices on vinyl siding has made Hardie Siding a great alternative. Siding Express is ready to refresh the appearance of your home or totally transform the look by installing Hardie Shake, board and batten, lap siding, or a stone accent to make it your dream home again. Siding Express is an elite preferred James Hardie contractor. Need ideas? Go to sidingexpress.com and schedule a free, no-obligation consultation today.
This is a special alert to all Americans who own a vehicle with less than 200,000 miles with an auto warranty about to expire or with no warranty coverage at all. Due to a decline in the economy, CarShield is announcing a low-cost, month-to-month vehicle protection plan that is now available to the public to save any driver out-of-pocket expenses on future auto repairs. Call now to find out how you can pay almost nothing for covered auto repairs. Yes, you heard that correctly. Pay almost nothing for covered auto repairs. An open phone line has been established for all drivers to call for a free quick quote. Call 800-652-5241 now. Drivers who are covered will not have to pay for covered repairs again. This protection plan is at an all-time low. Additionally, drivers who activate this vehicle protection today will also receive free roadside assistance, free towing, and car rental options at no additional cost. Call us for your free quick quote today. 800-652-5241. That's 800-652-5241. What do you have to lose? Call 800-652-5241. Again, 800-652-5241.
You're listening to the Annie Frey Show live from the Air Comfort Service Heating, Cooling, and Insulation Studio. Air Comfort Service is proud to support Greater St. Louis Honor Flight. Sign your veteran up for the Honor Flight today at gslhonorflight.org. And for heating services, visit aircomfortservice.com.
Second Amendment Radio is a staple of solid firearm information on 97.1 every weekend. Saturday from 3 to 4 and Sunday from noon to 1. It's Second Amendment Radio and the great outdoors. 97.1 FM Talk. You're listening to The Annie Frey Show. Follow Annie on Twitter at Annie Frey Show.
Look, I don't know if Mr. Hunter Biden committed a crime. I sure don't know if President Biden committed a crime. We're trying to get the facts. But I do know this, and I think the American people can see it. The Washington managerial elite, the establishment, if you will, is working harder than an ugly stripper to cover up whatever happened. And that's all that Congress is asking for is the facts.
We the people of the United States.
More perfect.
In order to form a more perfect union.
Heritage legal expert Hans von Spakovsky.
Nah, there's nobody like Senator Kennedy, Hans. Welcome back to the show. The man has a way with words, I might say.
Yeah, no, as soon as I started hearing his colorful expressions, I knew who it was.
That is for sure. I'm reading from a Fox News article just released here recently. U.S. Attorney for the District of Delaware, David Weiss, who led the Hunter Biden investigation, is facing a looming deadline to comply with demands from Republicans probing alleged improper retaliation against whistleblowers. As I understand, the clock is ticking here. Maybe you can bring it down to my level here and explain to me, what is David Weiss's role in this, and what are they asking for him to submit to?
Well, remember, he's supposedly the U.S. attorney who wanted to prosecute Hunter Biden for much more serious crimes. He wanted to file an action both in California and another one in the District of Columbia, and was told no by the U.S. attorneys in those districts, even though Merrick Garland has said, not only publicly, but swore to Congress in testimony, that he had a completely open record, a complete approval to do what he thought was right, and that no one at Justice would be able to tell him not to do that. And yet that doesn't seem to be what happened. And so I think that's what they're trying to probe into. What's the truth of that? And did Merrick Garland lie when he said, "Oh yeah, we're not going to be disapproving whatever he wants to do.
So David Weiss was investigating Hunter Biden and connections that might. It seems as though there were a lot of questions that were arising, and so then naturally, what you do is you investigate and you try to get answers to those questions.
Right.
But I've heard, and you're the legal mind here, Hans, so I need your clarification on this, that even if they were now, in 2023, able to prove, oh my gosh, all of this is actually true. Hunter Biden was taking money from Chinese officials and Joe Biden was absolutely involved in it, blah, 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 that we are unfortunately outside of the statute of limitations and that cannot any longer be criminally charged.
Well, unfortunately, that very well may be true. The statute of limitations for many federal crimes is 5 years. So if you're going back beyond that, we may be out of luck. But that doesn't mean that Congress should not investigate this and that it should not be publicly exposed what happened. Because if it turns out, in fact, that prosecutors, lawyers inside the Justice Department were deliberately trying to prevent this case from going forward, it may be too late to prosecute Hunter Biden, but it's not potentially too late for them to get disciplined, terminated, and disbarred for engaging in those kind of activities.
Well, it's another one of those multifaceted controversies, I guess, where you've got the people who potentially committed the crime or the investigation that seemed to be spoiled along the way in a various amount of reasons. And then there's, of course, the political angle to it. There is a criminal charge that will be investigated, and then we'll determine if it's still prosecutable. But I would assume that if this is to come to light, if the House is able to do the investigations that they suggest that they're going to do, that there could be some significant political ramifications to come out of this situation as well.
Yeah, there should be. And let's not forget in the middle of all this that, remember, the plea deal that was just agreed to between the government and Hunter Biden's lawyers, we now know really what a sweetheart deal it was. Because if you read the indictment, which I've done, it's only 2 pages, right? It's for supposedly not paying taxes for 2 years. And if you read the indictment, it says not paying upwards of $100,000 for each of those years. So everybody thinks, oh, okay, he didn't pay $200,000. No. The IRS agent, who's the whistleblower, said it wasn't that he didn't pay $200,000. It was that he didn't pay $1.2 million. Now, Annie, if you and I didn't pay $1.2 million to the IRS, I can guarantee you 100% we would be charged with felonies, not misdemeanors.
Absolutely. And I find it interesting that there's a very big movement by Biden and the congressional representatives in there that support him that says, we want to make sure that the IRS has what they need. Let's add 87,000 agents to the IRS so that we can make sure that the IRS is doing the job that it's supposed to do. Oh, except for this situation right here. The American people are so fed up with this justice system that is two-tiered.
Oh, yeah, and they should be. And that's the other reason why it is so important, even if the statute of limitations have run, that the House continue to investigate this. And frankly, if they get into a situation where individuals are refusing to turn over information, the House should consider impeaching them. And people need to understand impeachment doesn't just apply to people like Merrick Garland, the Attorney General. They could impeach U.S. attorneys who refuse to turn over documents, too. They're subject to impeachment just like higher-up officials are.
We're speaking with Hans von Spakovsky, senior legal fellow at the Heritage Foundation, a DOJ lawyer and an author as well. Hans, I look at good grief. I can't even count how many times you and I have had conversations about how one person is treated one way and another person gets the sweetheart deal, as you just alluded to. And it's 100. They're batting 1,000 on the political affiliation of who gets the sweet deals and who gets prosecuted or pursued under even made up accusations. When I look at the presidential election and I hear, Donald Trump saying he can fix things in 6 months. Donald Trump says he's going to go in there and he knows where all the bodies are buried. That's what a lot of his supporters say as well. and I hear Ron DeSantis talking about how he wants to go in and clean up shop. Constitutionally, what kind of power and authority does that executive have when they assume the role of the president of the United States to dramatically impact this two-tier justice system that we seem to have?
Well, there are two problems going on inside the FBI and the Justice Department. One is the political appointees, and those can be immediately replaced by an incoming president. But look, there's also problems with career people in there. Peter Strzok, remember Peter Strzok, the FBI agent who was pushing the whole Russia-Trump collusion thing. He was a career agent. So you've got to clean up the career ranks, too, and that is very difficult to do because of the fact that, you know, we have these, I think, onerous merit service protection rules for career civil servants in the federal government. So that's more difficult. But the first thing you have to do as a new president is, one, get in new political appointees who are willing to go in and then try to clean out some of the career ranks and face the fights they're going to face in trying to do that.
Does the president just get to appoint those people? Do they have to be confirmed by the Senate or anybody? Or is it the president comes in and cleans his house and puts in the people he wants?
It depends entirely on the position. If he wants to replace the attorney general, that person has to be confirmed by the Senate. If he wants to replace all the people who work in the attorney general's office, his entire staff, those are political appointees that he doesn't have to get the okay of the Senate. So it just depends on the position. The lower the position, the lower the management position, the less likelihood he's got to get the approval of the Senate. And as you know, that's also where a lot of the dirty deeds are being done, is in those lower ranks.
Yeah, we've heard many anecdotes relating to that. Hans, one of the things that Donald Trump has said, because people will say, if the President Trump gets reelected, he only has 4 years. It would be nice to put somebody in who has 8 years. And Trump's response, right, and I understand it, is I've already been there for 4 years. I know exactly what to do on day one, and I can get it done in 6 months. And then a criticism back to that is, if you can get it done in 6 months, why didn't you do it before you leave? All the things considered with the pandemic that clouded the, last part of Donald Trump's presidency, which was wildly successful outside of that. Is there a constitutional reason why Donald Trump wouldn't have been able to do those things, maybe with the makeup of Congress, or what kind of reasons might exist why Donald Trump didn't do it during the first term?
Well, I think part of the problem was finding good people who are willing to put up with what they have to put up with. And what I mean by that is, look, there were lots of people, I knew them, who refused to go to work in the Trump administration because they knew that once they got out, it would be very difficult to find a job because corporations, law firms in Washington, other places were ostracizing anyone who worked in the Trump administration.
Like a scarlet letter.
Yes, exactly right. And that gets tougher every year. That happened to some extent to people who worked for George W. Bush, but nothing close to the extent for people who worked for Donald Trump in the administration. That particular problem has just gotten worse. And if Trump were to have a second term, there's probably a lot of good people who want to go to work for him, but he may have a difficult time finding people because of that kind of ostracism they're going to face for working for him.
That's a really interesting angle on that, because he needs people that are willing to get the job done. He can't do it all himself. He's going to need people who are willing to serve in that capacity. Another criticism that I hear from people who, someone might advocate, well, Ron DeSantis could go in there and have 8 years. He'd be a fresh face. A lot of people say, nope, they're going to do exactly the same thing to Ron DeSantis that they did to Donald Trump. It will be no different. Ron DeSantis will be the new Trump. Do you believe, based on that experience, that personal relationships that you have, that if a Ron DeSantis or a Tim Scott or anyone else who might get in there who's not Trump but is a Republican, would they face that same sort of fear and scarlet letter burden that the Trump folks had to face?
The answer to that, unfortunately, is yes.
Oh, crap.
That's
bad.
I mean, Yeah, it's bad, and they're all gonna have that difficulty. It may be somewhat worse with Trump because he's really hated by the Washington establishment and the media, but DeSantis is getting up there into the same kind of hatred. I mean, just look at the kind of attacks that have occurred on him just for what he's done as governor in Florida.
Mm-hmm. I mean, one way or another, though, you got to have people who want to, I guess, proverbially drain the swamp. And you could understand why if you're going into the swamp to pull the drain out, while the people in the swamp might not like that. I understand that angle of it. But it seems to me that you're just going to, have to have some people who are willing to put their career on the line to do the job. And I guess the question is, do enough of those people exist?
I think they are, but I think part of the success of for example, Republican president starting in 2024 would be having a good, close relationship with the U.S. House so that when he's got recalcitrant bureaucrats in particular agencies, the president does, he can go to the House and say, hey, in the appropriations that you, the House, are responsible for this particular office or agency, you need to cut their budget. That's the only way to get the message across to them to start doing what I'm telling them they need to be doing.
Hans, I had to Google recalcitrant, but I learned a new word today. I appreciate that very much. I love learning new words, and you taught me a lot today, but I will purposely use that word tomorrow in the show sometime, maybe even in context.
Well, anything I can do like that, I'm happy to do it.
Absolutely. Hans, we appreciate your expertise and your access, and we're grateful you're with us today.
Thanks for having me.
Yep, of course. Bye-bye. Recalcitrant. I had to write it down so I'd remember how to spell it when I Googled it. I did not spell it correctly in the Google. Recalcitrant, having an obstinately uncooperative attitude toward authority or just my dad would have called me recalcitrant in my teenage years. Boom. I don't even need to wait for tomorrow. How's that, Chuck? A person with an obstinately uncooperative attitude. Speaking of, let's get Wiggins in here for Wiggins America. 6 ways to trick your brain into liking your workouts. This is the content you need on a Thursday afternoon. How many of us are going to work out after this? After we've had to trick ourselves? Let us know if you have any tricks, and we'll see if your trick is on Wiggins' list when he comes in. Don't go away. Back in a minute.
The Annie Frey Show is streaming online. Watch us live on YouTube and subscribe.
AirComfortService.com, your HVAC system in the hands of Air Comfort Service is all sorts of the feels that exist in the comfort zone. Of course, when Air Comfort Service is talking to you about your comfort zone, they want to make sure that your house is your oasis. It's the place where you go to retreat and to be comfortable, and temperature is a huge part of it. You probably aren't thinking about it because your air conditioner is working for you right now. But the minute that it doesn't, all of a sudden, it takes number one priority. That's when you call Air Comfort Service. 314-513-0091. I've had to make that unfortunate call for an air conditioner, for a furnace. They've replaced my water heater. When I need HVAC service in my home, Air Comfort Service are the only people I call because I know that I can trust them. And when I'm talking about Air Comfort Service to you, I'm talking to you from the position of a customer, somebody who has reached out to them, who has told me about all the rebates that are available, the opportunities to save, the great financing that becomes available, and the courtesy and care that they provide you when they are inside your home. 314-513-0091. Air Comfort Service, waiting to put you back in your comfort zone. Find them online at aircomfortservice.com.
For a hole in your roof or a whole new roof, Frederick Roofing.
Over 90,000 satisfied customers since 1929. Frederick Roofing, 314-645-2000.
When you have Rhino Shield on your house, it does a couple of things for you. It beautifies the house, and it protects it from the harshest elements. And boy, do we see those here in the greater St. Louis area. You get instant curb appeal. It will stick to anything. Rhino Shield is the answer, no matter whether you're you're painting a home or a church or a business or a condo because it's 100% waterproof. It takes care of the outdoor maintenance on whatever is on the outside of your home. The brick, the block, aluminum, steel, stucco. They can put this on with the 2 to 3 coat process. They're there about a week, and they do a great job. A lot of businesses have done it in the area. Several Firestones have done that. Vantage Credit Union over the years. Harlan Packaging down in DeSoto. Call Darren today and schedule your free estimate. 877-25-RHINO. Easy to remember phone number. Or go online today at 877-25-RHINO.com.
Station KFTK, an equal opportunity employer, is dedicated to providing a broad outreach for job vacancies at our stations. We seek the help from local community organizations in referring qualified applicants to our stations. Community organizations that wish to receive our job vacancy information can reach out to Frankie Fan at 206-577-2432. In addition, all listeners are encouraged to visit Odyssey.com for an online listing of job vacancies of all Odyssey radio stations.
Lots of comments on today's YouTube live chat poll. Whose cocaine was it? White House visitor? Hunter Biden? Staffer? Doesn't matter. We want to know what you think. The YouTube live chat poll of the day. Whose cocaine was it?
I was going to put your name in as an option.
My name is not an option. If you can't hear Annie talking, she's yelling at me.
Wah, wah.
And it has nothing to do with me. It's 12:45. This time check is sponsored by Jerry Kelly Heating and Air Conditioning.
It's time for a $98 AC tune-up.
This is where real local and national accountability happens. This is 97.1 FM Talk, St. Louis's home for conservative talk.
Stop dancing like that.
I just don't get the correlation.
He paid me $10 to put this in.
$10?
That's not true.
Yep.
That's
It
not
was
true.
12.
Wiggins! Oh! Wiggins!
Well, Brad's had enough.
Yeah. He's straight up cut it off. Yeah, no.
Huh?
Nothing. I was gonna. You're being recalcitrant, is what you're doing right now.
I am not.
You are. You're being defiant. You're being refractory. Bullshit.
You're just. Ooh, I thought you were going to say something else.
Whoa!
Stroppy.
You have to know how to pronounce the words. You don't know what they mean.
Contumacious.
You're not making them sound as fancy as they are.
And froward, not forward.
That's just misspelled. Are you dyslexic?
No. Only with R's and F's. The story that I brought today is simply a motivation to myself to work out more. And if you guys want to participate, that's fine.
So this is a point of selfish indulgence because you need to work out more?
Yeah, a little bit.
All right.
You should just exercise for the rest of the show. We'll put a camera on you.
You know what? I will, but it'll all be hip
turn 'em out.
thrusts. So,
Oh,
you know,
my gosh.
give and take. Like, which one you want? You want me to exercise or not? Because that's what it's going to be.
I have nothing.
Is that one of the tricks and tips you've got for
No,
us?
it's not. It's not. Tip number one. Now, I got to admit, when I read these, the first time through, I rolled my eyes a little bit. But then the more I thought about it, I'm like, actually, that would work. I'm like, these are actually pretty good tips. Okay, number one, reward raffle. This one is number one. And it's the most fun one. It says, write down 5 ways you can reward yourself for completing a workout on 5 different pieces of paper.
Stupid.
For example, maybe you write down new running shoes or a massage or a new water bottle or a pint of your favorite ice cream.
For every
A
workout?
pint of your favorite ice cream?
I knew that was going to be something.
That's what it
That is
says.
so dumb. You can't be like, I worked out today, so I'm going to go get a Frappuccino.
I mean, you absolutely can, but it doesn't really do the trick.
You guys are being obdurate and bullshit.
Whoa. Let's not use that anymore.
Put your hand on the dump button. Ben.
Yep.
Because
the one that drops the floor out from Ryan Wiggins. Can we get a Ryan Wiggins dump button?
Actually, I'm all for that, engineers, because that would be super fun.
It'd be
I've
really
always
funny.
wanted to
You're being
trap
bullshit.
You definitely have to be on the YouTube to see see it happen when the floor drops out from Ryan Wiggins.
I'm trying to give you tips and you're being contumacious.
Actually, it'll just be a really, really slow descent.
What's happening?
It's more of an elevator than a
That's the
trap
Austin
door.
Power trick. He walks behind the couch, looks like he's walking down the stairs. So it's not just that, Hannah. Hear me out here. You put 5 rewards on 5 pieces of paper. Then you fill out, well, you don't really fill out.
You don't
crumple
need a
up.
reward for everything you do.
Hang on now. You fill out.
Said the Gen Z to the millennial.
Crumple them up. Crumple up those 5, put them in a bowl. Then you crumple up 15 blank pieces of crumpled paper. Oh my God. Every time you complete a workout.
Who wrote this?
You reach out, triathlete.com. Every time you
I just wanted to make sure it was from a revered source. Well done.
Reach into the bowl, choose one piece of paper. You'll either get a reward or a blank piece of paper.
What grown but person puts that together and then abides by it?
It's what you got to do if you're going to work out. That's all I'm saying.
No, it's not. You just get your butt to the
things are
gym.
better.
Yeah. It says this little game will help you tick off those undesirable workouts because it taps into the brain's obsession with uncertainty. There's science to this, and we all trust the science.
No, we don't trust the science.
Here's the deal. The brain thrives off of unexpected or intermittent rewards, and this is due to dopamine. You'll find that theme throughout.
If you're getting a dopamine hit off of a bucket of options that you created for yourself and then you draw one and it's not the one you like and you just quit, you don't need to teach yourself discipline to go to the gym.
Now, if you don't
have the
know
discipline.
whether or not you'll receive a reward, then your brain releases a significantly higher amount of
This is
dopamine.
making me mad.
And you feel even more motivated to accomplish the task.
Tell the people at triathlete.com that nobody who needs motivation to go to the gym is reading triathlete.com.
I will contact my contact at Triathlete, and I will tell them that you said that. Tip number 2, set micro goals. And again, win dopamine. Now, this seems pretty obvious, though. A micro goal or a micro step is the smallest possible unit of progress. Consider a 2,000-yard swim set. Looking at that workout in its entirety doesn't always sound refreshing. Alternatively, you can set an initial goal of just a 200-yard warm-up.
Or just
and
a
you
Marco
focus
Polo.
On that. Yeah. And if you have friends.
Where your trainer is in front of you yelling Marco, and you have to chase
yell
them.
Polo. Yeah. And if you open your eyes or you squint and act like you're opening your
drown.
eyes,
They
you
kill
lose.
This
If
is
you
why
get out
I
of the pool,
box.
you lose.
If I go boxing and I give up, then they punch you in the face. And Chris is listening right now going, but you're not coming boxing.
I was going to say.
That's why you need these tips, Annie.
No, it's not.
Because you haven't been boxing and because you haven't put your rewards in a bowl.
No, that's not why.
The micro, what's it called? Micro
aggression?
Yeah.
I'm feeling them.
I think this is just regular aggression.
Micro goals.
Micro goals. I use that whenever I'm running. I'll get into a certain distance, and it's like, all right, when you get to this distance, then you can slow down, you can walk, and then you can go again. And then I get to that distance, and I'm like, no, just go another minute.
It's because he's
Just
better
go
than
another
us.
minute. Just go another minute. And it's the only way that I can push myself through it. So I think that one works.
See, Hannah, maybe you could learn something
The
today.
first one's bologna sausage, though.
I never said that the
Or bullshit.
the micro thing doesn't
Whatever that
work.
means.
Hang on. You guys are getting a little stroppy.
I don't even know how to Google that.
Consummation.
Next.
Tip number 3. A picture's worth 1,000 words. Another way to incorporate visualization is to physically draw on a piece of paper or depict in some visual way progress toward your goal.
No, just take a picture of yourself in a swimsuit and put it on the fridge.
I already do that. You can draw an
Picture
image.
of me in a swimsuit?
Oh, man.
Katie's like, this is odd. Don't you work with her? You can draw an image of a mountain with the peak being your big goal. And after every single workout, fill in a step as you get closer to the peak.
My
thought they meant
7-year-old would love these.
Draw a picture of what you want to look like. I'm like, oh boy.
Stick figure.
Huge gun.
Draw a picture of a mountain with the peak being your belly.
Yeah.
Shame yourself into going to the gym.
It's you laying on your side.
Scooter just commented, Ryan would look great in Annie's shirt.
And we know that for a fact now. There was always a hypothesis before,
I'm wearing a
but we made
sweatshirt
it law.
Mm-hmm.
Tip number 4.
Your mom told you to give me the shirt because I look better in it.
Wait for Christmas. Don't get ahead of yourself.
Do not give me that shirt for Christmas.
We got to keep the joke going long enough that you'll remember what it is by
I don't even know what we're
Christmas.
talking
never
about.
forget.
Never mind, I've forgotten.
Tip number 4, tap into your why. What is your why, Brad? Why is it important to have a why? Well, because you're not always going to want to do it. Plain and simple. Your why serves as your anchor and the impetus for you to trudge through the muck. Studies have highlighted the benefit of having a purpose. Interestingly, people who articulate their why.
Say that sentence again.
Studies have highlighted the benefit of having a purpose.
That is definitely from the science.
That's from the science. This is written by John Fauci.
So you're saying here that if I find a purpose for my life, I might enjoy it more.
Yeah, you got to find a purpose to get out of bed in the morning and work out. Otherwise, you're just going to roll around.
Groundbreaking stuff right here.
Interestingly, people who articulate their why are better able to manage life's more difficult moments, even relatively minor ones, such as having to get through a tough workout or dealing with a disappointing race.
Do you feel more motivated to work out now?
I'm going to go work out right after this.
Mm-hmm.
When you talk to Tyrus. Tip number 5, dopamine jams. Music and workouts are a pretty classic pair, but for the past 20 years, research has supported the psychological benefit of workout music.
Taking the stairs to KFC?
Yeah. You got it.
Up and down.
No, I'm gonna do like Kevin in Home Alone and go down in a sled.
Okay.
But I'll come up the stairs, I promise. Do you guys listen to music while you work out?
Yeah.
I never do.
How do you not listen to music while you
don't.
work out?
You're not going to be surprised by this, but I watch Twilight Zone while I work out in my basement. Usually, lately, it's been the 80s version, and it is not as good.
That's the beginning story of every serial killer. I work out in my basement to Twilight Zone. It's totally normal. I got no issues.
I got love and hate tattooed across my knuckles.
But it's spelled backwards.
Whichever one you get that day is what you get. Tip number 6, last one. This is what you guys have been getting at the whole time. Do it anyway.
Yeah.
Just start. Action creates motivation, not the other way around. Since dopamine runs the show when it comes to motivation, why
They're
not figure
really
out?
big on dope.
They are. Why not figure out a way to boost your dope first? So there you go. All summed up in number 6, really, which is just go do it.
Just do it.
One of the best segments we've ever done here on this show.
Excuse me? We?
Yep.
Tyrus on the Annie Frey Show. We come back and you can vote in the YouTube live chat poll. Whose cocaine was it? Annie Frey YouTube channel. Go vote. Let us know what you think.
If you're hiring, it can feel like you're trying to find a needle in a haystack. You can hope the right person comes along, or you can just use ZipRecruiter. And now you can try it for free at ZipRecruiter.com/radio. In fact, ZipRecruiter has helped a lot of business owners find their needle in a haystack, like Marco, president of operations at Telly Tires and Auto Centers. Because Telly Tires has grown a lot in the last few years, Marco needed to hire everyone from a receptionist to a store manager to a head mechanic.
ZipRecruiter helps me find all the right people, even the most difficult jobs to fill. ZipRecruiter helps me keep my business running.
Take it from Marco and millions of other businesses who've used ZipRecruiter. ZipRecruiter can help you find the needle in the haystack.
See why 4 out of 5 employers who post a job on ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate within the first day. And right now, you can try ZipRecruiter for free. That's right, free at ZipRecruiter.com/radio. That's ZipRecruiter.com/RADIO. ZipRecruiter.com/radio. ZipRecruiter, the smartest way to hire.
Brad walked into my office this morning and I said, Brad, you look a little tired. And he said, I am a little tired. And I said, Brad, I have a solution. If you have sleep apnea, I don't know if you do. But if you, listening, have sleep apnea, or you think even maybe you do, I've got the solution for you. It's Fountains Family Dentistry. It is a sleep apnea mouth guard. They call it sleep medicine, but there's no medicine involved. If you feel like you are irritable or you have loud, persistent snoring, restless sleep, pauses in breathing, frequent visits to the bathroom even, or headaches, daytime sleepiness, that kind of stuff, chronic fatigue, that could all be caused by sleep apnea. And it's really easy to fix. It's really that easy as going to Fountains Family Dentistry, talking to Dr. Ty Parker, and getting fitted with one of these little retainers that you wear while you sleep. Super easy to travel with, super easy to wear. You won't even notice it other than the fact that you wake up feeling refreshed. See them, Fountains Family Dentistry, online at fountainsfamilydentistry.com.
If you're thinking about selling your St. Louis area home, you might be overwhelmed by the process, especially in this market. Mark Cox here. I strongly recommend you call and spend 5 minutes getting to know Gloria Liu with Your Home Sold Guaranteed Realty. Gloria understands you have questions and that selling your home can be stressful. She has mastered the home selling process with her Guaranteed Sold program. It simply states Gloria will sell your home at your agreed-to price and time frame, or Gloria will buy it. So what's her secret? Gloria already has the buyers. The fact is your home may already be sold. Let Gloria show you how she nets her home sellers more money and how she sells faster on average. Need more proof? Check out Gloria's 5-star reviews and get moving. Call Gloria Liu today at 314-325-6888. That's 314-325-6888, or visit GloriaHasTheBuyers.com. Conditions apply. Gloria and the seller must agree on price and possession date.
KFTK FM Florissant. From the Under Law Injury Lawyers, GetJim.com studio. 97.1 FM Talk. Always live on the free Odyssey app.
We're exporting products, not jobs. On the Sabrady, Fox News. President Biden's words at a South Carolina plant that makes parts for converting solar power to electricity, as he claims credit for nearly $500 billion in private investment in American manufacturing.
It's historic. And it's Bidenomics in action. Instead of exporting jobs to cheaper labor costs, what we did for decades, we're creating jobs here.
He's also criticizing House Republicans for trying to repeal clean energy provisions in the Inflation Reduction Act. Republicans say the president's agenda is hurting American families. 25 state attorneys general, all Republicans, say new emissions standards would damage the economy and tax electrical grids. They're urging the EPA to drop the proposal for deeper cuts in vehicle emissions, which could lead to an estimated 60% of new vehicles being electric by the year 2030. General Motors warning the EPA yesterday it could face compliance challenges. Police in Houston are still investigating a missing person case from 2015, even after a claim the disappearance was made up.
Houston Police Chief Troy Finner was adamant.
Our investigation is our investigation.
Wednesday, a local activist said he was in the room when Rudy Farias was questioned last week after being missing 8 years. Detective Chris Zamora says the evidence shows
that Rudy was not missing during the 8-year period.
Detective Stephen Jimenez said of the activist's claims about a story of abuse and detainment by Farias' mother.
We don't have any information to say there was any kind of kidnapping or anything like that right now.
For that reason, the DA is not pursuing the case right now. But Chief Finner says it's not over.
There's a lot of development still.
Gernal Scott, Fox News.
OceanGate is suspending all exploration. That's the company that managed a tourist sub that recently imploded, killing 5 people, an incident that remains under investigation. America is listening to Fox News.
Don't let earache from swimmer's ear, clogged ears, or allergies ruin your day. Get fast, effective relief from the pain and itching with Hyland's Earache Drops, the #1 best-selling earache treatment for over 10 years. See why it's received thousands of 5-star reviews and was awarded Best Over-the-Counter Medicine and Health Product in Earache Relief by U.S. News and World Report. Find Hyland's Earache Drops in the eye and ear aisle at Walmart, Walgreens, CVS, Rite Aid, and Target. Claims based on traditional homeopathic practice, not accepted medical evidence, not FDA evaluated.
Your pet isn't just a pet, they're part of your family. Most of the pet food on the market is cooked at high temperatures, which kills nutrients. A scoop of Dynovite is a 3-in-1 daily supplement, adding back key nutrients to your pup's health. Try Dynovite for free. Just pay shipping and handling. Learn more at dinovite.com/radio. That's dinovite.com/radio.
Happier, healthier with every bite. Over 1 million pets helped with Dynovite.
Air Comfort Service, heating, cooling, and insulation. Weather.
Chief Meteorologist Dave Murray.
Partly sunny skies this afternoon. It's a little cooler than we have been, and we'll take that. 85 degrees. Still could be a spot thunderstorm, but that action is moving away. Tonight, delightful, partly cloudy skies. Beautiful evening. 62 for the overnight low. Friday, partly sunny. Nice for summer, 85. But we've got periods of showers and thunderstorms in play Friday evening, Friday night, Saturday, and Sunday. This is 97.1 FM Talk. Chief Meteorologist Dave Murray.
Keep it here for the real news. This is St. Louis's home for conservative talk.
St. Louis's home for conservative talk.
Mark Cox, Brian Kilmeade, Annie Frey, Mark Reardon, and Dana Lash on 97.1 FM Talk.
Cashback is not available on gas in New Jersey and Wisconsin.
Coop
couponing. Wow, you didn't strike me as the coupon type.
Just trying to stay ahead of inflation. Gas, groceries, everything. It's all more expensive. I need to save wherever I can.
Have you tried Upside yet?
Upside? What's that?
It's a free app that I use that pays cash back for every gallon of gas I buy. You've got to buy gas to get around anyway. Might as well get paid for it.
Come on, does that really add up to anything?
I've already made around $200. The extra cash helped pay down my bills, and I even had a little extra left to treat myself.
And the Upside app is free?
Totally free, and the cash back is real. You can transfer the cash right to your bank account.
I'm downloading Upside right now.
Download the free Upside app now to earn cash back every time you buy gas. Use promo code OIL to get an extra 25 cents per gallon on your first tank. You can cash out anytime right to your bank, to PayPal, or a gift card for Amazon and other brands. Just download the free Upside app and use promo code OIL for a 25 cents per gallon bonus on your first tank. That's code OIL for a 25 cents per gallon bonus.
The only person who can change your life is you, but you need to know how. Listen to my show, The Del Walmsley Radio Show, where the hype ends and the help begins.
Listen to the Del Walmsley Radio Show this Saturday afternoon from 1 to 2 p.m. on 97.1 FM Talk.
St. Louis physician Dr. Abicki created Neovitin 15 years ago to help support his own nutrition when he needed it most. Since then, Neovitin has helped thousands of people support their daily nutrition with sensible doses of vitamins, minerals, antioxidants, and Dr. Abicki's proprietary blend. If you're ready to join many St. Louisans in supporting their nutrition, give Neovitin a try. You can find Neovitin at your local Schnucks, Dierbergs, and online at neovitin.com.
Mark Cox here. If you're nearing retirement or already retired, call my friends Thomas Helbig and Bob Kershaw with the Retirement Advisory Group. They'll show you how to link to the market without the risk. They're the official financial advisors of my show. Go online to retirementkey.com.
This hour of the Annie Frey Show is brought to you by Ruler Foods. Low prices, no coupons. Ruler Foods.
That is exactly what I needed to hear.
Thank God someone here knows what they're talking about.
That's us. That's right. Gotta love this American ride.
All right, you need to take the time and get the full picture.
Don't get me wrong, I love the ladies. I mean, they rev my engine, but they don't belong in the newsroom. It is Anchor Man, not Anchor Lady.
What do you want from me? I'm not America's sweetheart.
Goodness sake, kid. Keep your voice down. Your father's listening to the radio.
I'm not America's sweetheart.
This is the Annie Frey Show.
We share this belief that the nuclear family structure, so the numbers, I said 70%, really the number's 41%. But more broadly, we do have a fatherlessness epidemic. It's not just black communities, right? It's a big problem in white communities and Hispanic communities as well.
Vivek Ramaswamy there speaking on the issue of a fatherless epidemic in our country. And it seems to me that even if he might not be the front runner, even the runner-up so far in the Republican primary, he's the one who is talking about issues the most. I really respect that. Let's ask Tyrus about it.
You're becoming like my most stable relationship.
Enough said.
On Gutfeld, he's a Fox News contributor, co-host of the Tyrus and Tim podcast, and has a new book coming out. Check it out and pre-order it right now. Tyrus, welcome back to the show. Good to have you here.
Always a pleasure.
You're a father, and you're a very dedicated father. I know that, and we've met even one of your children. It was wonderful. But the idea of talking about the importance of families, of parenting, of showing up, and being a part of your child's life seems to be an issue right now that's starting to bubble up a little bit more. And I want to know what your thoughts are on it.
Well, this is a tough one because you got to say some ugly things, and you hate to use words like the system, but the court systems and society in general is kind of anti-dad when you look at, especially when you're trying to come up, when you're a young father. There's so much pressure, and you want to be a man, and that's part of it, and we get that. But even things like getting simple housing to keep a family together. In most states, the mother can get housing for the children, but if the father's with them, they don't qualify. So, even if he's a student or he's working 60 hours a week at Burger King or whatever, trying to make ends meet, it's really tough on fathers. And then, I think there'd be a lot of deadbeat moms out there if there wasn't so many services for them and, even ridiculous child support and stuff, and not being able to make sure the money goes where it's supposed to go is particularly frustrating for fathers. You send your support and you're trying to do all the right things, but you really kind of, in a lot of cases, end up like a second-class citizen when it comes to fighting for rights and stuff like that. So it can be, it's a tough job. No one ever said being a parent was easy. So when you're a single father or you're trying to come up, it can be, you got to check, first thing you got to check your pride at the door. And I wish more people would be adults about being parents. Stop trying to be friends or put your kids in the middle of it. But it's an epidemic across the board. And we're seeing the results of it with a lot of the craziness that goes on in the world. Men have disappeared, positive role models. We used to see them in the neighborhoods where, one dad was in the neighborhood, but he was kind of watched out for everybody. You're just not seeing those things anymore. And it's frustrating because fathers are important. And we just seem to make it a one, if you make it a one race thing, if you say, it's just a black thing, then it's not a problem, but it's across the board. And we just have to look at the way that we go into being a parent, because, they want to talk about gender doesn't matter, when in terms of being a great parent, I think they should have that same philosophy.
The government is very eager and to step in and replace the father in the home and to provide those things that it's kind of ironic, because the services in many ways that the government steps in to provide traditionally have been, the man's role in the house. Now, I'm a fully employed career woman myself, and I got 4 kids, so I'm doing both of the things. And I'm not here to say that women can't provide for the family, but it's kind of a manly thing and a traditionally masculine thing to provide for the family. And when the government steps in and replaces all of that, it emasculates men yet again. So you have it from the government standpoint, but culturally, we certainly have seen a lot of movement to try to emasculate the idea of what a man is in this country.
Well, it's all bad, but you have to have protection, and that's what we're seeing is a lack of protection. And that's a great point. These are democratic ideas and the system in place and the welfare, and they want to put more in that. But instead of saying you and your husband are young and you have 2 kids or whatever, you're going to get assistance for 5 years while you're working and building your career and working together, and no even tax credits or whatever for the fact that you're living together in the same household and you're making it work. That's an incentive plan for people to get off. And once you're off, you're off. But this idea of they don't replace the dad, is they keep the single parent maintaining. So if she doesn't improve, if she doesn't get a job that can make up a difference or remarry or whatever the case may be, they're basically designed to keep them in the same place. And that's why I'm so anti-welfare. And I don't see, there's not a lot of, we were on this for a couple months and then boom, we were going. It seems to get people fall into that trap. And you see it across the board in men. Well, she makes more money if she stays on assistance and gets housing, and then they garnish my paycheck. So, there's really no room for me. And then if I want to do something for myself, I have to get an extra job. And then that cuts into time. And again, this is all tough, but as men, you got to keep going, because it's not easy. I don't think I've won an argument when it comes to my kids and stuff. Whenever I'm, I have to pick my spots, and I have to remember that the kids come first, and what my personal feelings are sometimes really don't matter. But when it comes to parenting my kids, I'm pretty no nonsense. But again, I'm not my kids' friends either. I'm their father, and it's my responsibility to take care of them, make sure they have all the things they need. So it's just, it can be frustrating, but at the same time, I think of the toughest moments when I couldn't afford necessarily to keep my own lights on, but I had to make sure that my kids were taken care of, and I made those sacrifices. And it does suck, and it's hard because it's a thankless job, and you're always going to hear about what you didn't do. And if you don't have support from the mother, once the relationship ends, you're the problem. You're the root for every problem that they encounter. So it can be tough mentally.
I think it's one of those issues that it's such a prevalent issue, and it's incredibly relatable for people who have been in that position or know people who are in that position, and that is the single parent home, the assistance that is needed to get them into a position where they are independent. But I don't think that Republicans and conservatives do a great job of offering a workable alternative to what I see, living in St. Louis here and having a lot of impoverished communities within our, urban area that are both black and white and other races too. There are people who are struggling. What is the solution to that problem? They're all run by Democrats top to bottom, and the Democrats throw money at it, and they remind people of that come the election season. Then they don't show up again until election season once again, and they all stay the same.
But that's a great point. We have to police ourselves. We don't like the system, but we have none of our leaders putting forward something to work, something where like 2 years or 3 years or a therapy to keep the family together, tax credits and things like that. There are things that could be done on the Republican side. We've kind of seen the same thing with healthcare, where we love to talk about we hated Obamacare. Then we're like, okay, what's our plan? No one had one. So it's just that's where we have to figure out something, because even if it's the DAD Act or something where you put programs in place that will not job education, job training for fathers or whatever who are staying in the home and working, or you expand the housing opportunities for young couples that are together, even if they're fathers and mothers able to cohabitate without the stress, and he can work and he can build up, maybe get some savings and get off the system in a few years. But again, we have to come up with plans, and it's not that difficult. But here's the other side of it: is a lot of Republicans are like, well, I did it on my own, so why can't you?
Yeah.
So that's the other argument to it. But no matter what the argument is, you just got to be real. You just got to be like, listen, we don't like welfare, but we don't have a plan either because we don't want it at all. Like that's what the honest thing to say is. They know politically they can't say that.
Yeah. I mean, everybody can see the problem exists. And if the problem exists, there has to be a solution that is offered, or a hand up instead of a handout is a phrase that a lot of politicians will use from time to time. But I really do think that you're so right when it comes to the way that we approach fatherhood, the importance of the role of fathers in it. I so much tie it into how unpopular it is right now in the culture that we live in to simply be a man. And, if you were to say to someone, be a man, that would be essentially a slur to many people in today's society. But we could actually use some more encouragement to individuals out there. Be a man.
We need some manning up. We need some manning up, and we need some womening up. And we need to take back the conversation.
How do you define it?
The conversation is being held by people who have nothing in the game.
Amen.
They have no skin in the game, no beats on the ground, no feet on the ground. So they can say whatever they want to say, and with no wisdom, nothing to it, and that seems to get on the microphone. And that's where we need to be able to say, this individual has no business talking about this, and we need to not be afraid, but that cancel culture and that anti-man establishment, but again, as that also goes with the territory of manning up, is that you're not, I always had a saying that when things got tough, or people would, I'm like, I know how to play on the road. I'm used to getting booed because you're not doing it for likes. You're not doing it for acknowledgement. You're doing it to take care of your children and give them the best opportunity to hopefully do better than you did, because that's really the plan. That's what a father wants for his son and his daughter, to, for them under his guidance and his protection, them to improve and be a little better than he is. And then as a parent, you've done your job. And it's a tough job, and it's a thankless job, but they didn't ask to come in this world. You brought them in the world, and it's your responsibility to get them where they need to go to the best of your ability. And if you need a helping hand, you shouldn't be looked down on it. You shouldn't be told that you're less than a man if you need help or job training or a little assistance to get your stuff going. I think everyone needs a helping hand. We used to have big families to lean on, but that's kind of scattered, in neighborhoods, everyone makes their money and they move as fast as they can. So, and that's not a black thing, that's an everywhere thing. So we just need to rethink the way we look at things, because we're just not holding fathers or men in general, heterosexual men in this country. We just don't hold, there's this whole underground movement with no numbers to discredit men, and honestly, and to I don't want to use the word replace women, but make like being a woman, anyone can do it, which is in itself just
incredibly
ridiculous.
offensive. It's so offensive. As somebody who's had 4 kids, that's not actually true. It's just
and a number one radio station, and a healthy marriage,
yeah,
and be able to make a St. Louis Cardinals game when you can.
Oh gosh, they're so bad. I looked, and Boston is in last place, I think, in their division, and Cardinals are in last place in their division, and I think that Boston would be in first place in the National League Central Division. So it's not apples to apples.
Life's not fair sometimes.
It isn't. I appreciate so much what you're saying about manning up and being willing to say it, because the other phrase, the alternative phrase to manning up, is the toxic masculinity phrase that we hear. You're an NWA World Heavyweight Champion. I think some people would inherently look at that as toxically masculine.
I'll be that. I'll take that.
You wear it on your shirt. Yeah, I bet you would.
If when someone says that's toxic masculinity, ask them to define it. That's what we need to do. We need to just bring back a little 2 words. How so? Whenever you get these first worlders, or the woke, or whatever you want to call them, and they want to say something systemic racism, or you're transphobic, or you're toxic alpha male, say how so? They can never give you a fact. They usually end up screaming on the microphone, or they'll just say, "Well, I feel like you're." There's nothing to it. Like, toxic masculinity would be pretending to be a woman to win gold medals in women's event. That, to me, that's toxic masculinity. That's a man taking advantage, using his manhood to take advantage of women and stop them from being successful. That, to me, is the definition of toxic masculinity.
Amen to that. Oh man, I'll tell you what I can define as toxic femininity. We've seen a little bit of that too in the world.
What are they?
Yeah.
Turns out some of the best feminists are alpha males. Who knew?
There's nothing to add, Tyrus. We appreciate you. Thanks for being with us today, and I can't wait for your next book to come out.
Thank you very much.
Talk to you soon. Bye-bye. Tyrus is the co-host of Tyrus and Tim podcast, Gutfeld. And I mean, really, his next book is called Enough Said, and that is enough said. Well done. And I get it. I don't really go into it much on the show, but the idea that, like, anybody, I grew up that I'm very conflicted on this, guys. I don't even know how to say the words, because I grew up in a time of the 80s and the 90s where feminism was in full force. And the idea that you could be anything or anyone as a woman and not be limited because you were a woman, that your femininity was a power that you had that you could use anywhere. And now anyone can do it. It just seems like, but I just got here. I just arrived. You've changed the rule book. Ugh, it drives me crazy. Tyrus, on point, as always. If you missed the beginning of that interview, go to the Odyssey app, AUDACY. If you don't have it, you can download it. Follow 97.1 FM Talk, and you can stream the station anytime, anywhere. So if the signal doesn't come in great for you, or maybe you are going out of town, but you want to pick up on your favorite show, whether it's the Annie Frey Show or the Morning Show, Kilmeade or Reardon, whomever, 97.1 streams on the Odyssey app 24/7, and we would love to have you follow us there. The Annie Frey Show podcasts are available there also. You can rewind on the app up to 24 hours from the time you access it. So if you log on right now and rewind to about 1:05, you'll catch the start of the Tyrus interview if you didn't hear the whole thing. Let's get the show back in here. More fun on the Annie Frey Show, including the answer to the question, whose cocaine was it? Was it a White House visitor, Hunter Biden, a staffer, or it doesn't matter? We'll tell you what we think when we come back. Don't go away.
You're listening to The Annie Frey Show on St. Louis's home for conservative talk. Follow Annie on Instagram at The Annie Frey Show.
Jen Teskey with Remax Alliance is there to make the selling and buying process smooth as butter on the Illinois side of the river. I can't stress enough how fun these people are when you follow Jen Teskey with RE/MAX Alliance on social media. You'll see all the moving and shaking they're doing for their clients every single day. They go way above and beyond to make sure that your realty experience is superb. It's not just satisfactory, it's way beyond that. When you call or text 618-541-1010, that's 618-541-1010, you're going to get access to Jen Teskey and the amazing team that she has there with RE/MAX Alliance. You can also access jenteskeyhomes.com and learn more about listings that they have and how they do and go about their business. They are the experts on the Illinois side of the river when it comes to buying and selling homes. If you're considering listing a home right now, there is very little inventory for sale on the Illinois side. Put your house out there and get top dollar with Jen Teskey and RE/MAX Alliance. 618-541-1010, jenteskeyhomes.com.
When I met little Ruthie in 2010, she was just 5 years old. She wasn't eating much, she had no school to go to, and she didn't know who Jesus was. In December of 2023, Ruthie will be joining 12 others in the first graduating class of Bethlehem Christian Academy in Zambia, Africa. Hi, my name is Martin Winslow, founder and president of BCA. When you support a child like Ruthie through BCA, you get to join us in being the hands and feet of Jesus. Our mission is dedicated to transforming lives by feeding and educating poor and orphan children in some of the poorest places in Africa and South Asia. BCA's ministry not only provides physical bread to these kids, but also spiritual bread through the Word of God. For just $36 a month, you can help a child have a hope of a better future, but more importantly, give them the opportunity to learn about Christ. You can also join us on a mission trip. In fact, many will be joining me this upcoming December to watch Ruthie receive her diploma. To find out more about how you can help children like Ruthie, please visit bcaministries.com. That's bcaministries.com.
This is a special alert to all Americans who own a vehicle with less than 200,000 miles with an auto warranty about to expire or with no warranty coverage at all. Due to a decline in the economy, CarShield is announcing a low-cost month-to-month vehicle protection plan that is now available to the public to save any driver out-of-pocket expenses on future auto repairs. Call now to find out how you can pay almost nothing for covered auto repairs. Yes, you heard that correctly. Pay almost nothing for covered auto repairs. An open phone line has been established for all drivers to call for a free quick quote. Call 800-652-5241 now. Drivers who are covered will not have to pay for covered repairs again. This protection plan is at an all-time low. Additionally, drivers who activate this vehicle protection today will also receive free roadside assistance, free towing, and car rental options at no additional cost. Call us for your free quick quote today. 800-652-5241. That's 800-652-5241. What do you have to lose? Call 800-652-5241. Again, 800-652-5241.
You're listening to the Annie Frey Show live from the Air Comfort Service Heating, Cooling, and Insulation Studio. Air Comfort Service is hiring licensed journeymen. Don't have a journeyman license? Air Comfort Service will help you get it. Get guaranteed hours year-round and more. Apply online at aircomfortservice.com.
The Mark Reardon Show.
Hey, the very latest on the investigation into cocaine found inside the White House. I'm sure our friend Brian Kilmeade will have plenty to say on that. He joins us Thursday afternoon.
Weekdays from 3 to 6.
St. Louis's home for conservative talk.
This is the Annie Frey Show. Follow Annie on Twitter at Annie Frey Show.
A lot of that work is not going to be done at the federal level, right? A lot of that work is going to be done in communities, for communities, by communities. But what you can do is you can help to get the progressive boot off of the neck of the family. And that is really what you talked about as far as shutting down a lot of those alphabet soup agencies, cutting through a lot of the regulations that, you know, help to destroy the family or the mobility of our inner cities. That's what the federal government can do.
So that is a lawyer. Her name's Christy Kelly, and she's a father's rights activist. And I find it interesting because the idea of fatherhood is not something that is really collectively, culturally championed. And speaking with Tyrus, if you missed it, he made some really fantastic points in our conversation that we just had in the last segment. Get on the Odyssey app and rewind to about 1:05 today if you follow 97 FM Talk, or just catch the Annie Frey Show podcast, where you get your podcast from. But the idea of fatherhood, masculinity, he said we need people to man up. And if I utter the phrase "be a man," those are all pejorative-based phrases today in 2023. And growing up in the 80s and the 90s, I mean, the 80s were supposed to be like the women's decade, where finally women were in the boardroom. And I know that when I grew up, I remember understanding the existence of feminism, and I understood in culture how feminism was a little bit outside of the norm. It wasn't the accepted way of thing. It was still a little revolutionary when I was a child growing up. So much so that my favorite Disney movie growing up was Beauty and the Beast. And I really loved Belle because Belle was the feminist princess growing up. Belle was not interested in what the people of the town, like the life cycle of what you did in small town Paris, like outskirts of Paris, where you'd get to a certain age, you would get married, you'd have babies, you'd make the food, you'd take care of the kids, and then you would hope that you had married a successful man who would take care of you into your old age. That's the life. That's the way civilization has been for a long time. And in my lifetime, women have really dramatically influenced areas, offices, boardrooms in a way that they hadn't in a generation before me. So I remember feminism. I remember it being something that some people really loved and some people were really turned off by. But I grew up thinking that it meant that women should have the right to have a say in the trajectory of their life. Now, I literally have read stories that talk about how Belle was supposed to be a feminist icon, but the version of a feminist icon that Belle would be is like, oh, she reads books. And like, ooh, wow, look at the lady go. And that she somehow or never gives up everything that she has to free a man, which is a father, and to live in a place where she's not appreciated and then has to stay there in order to free the beast, whatever. But like they totally took the feminist icon that I grew up with and made her like a homely little girl who grew up to do what women were supposed to do. Like that was not the point. We don't have gender roles in our society right now. I think it kind of all comes together because we're not supposed to have gender in our society. And in doing that, you can see the breakdown everywhere you look. And it had to start with the emasculation of men, feminism that put women in places of distinction with the ability to make decisions, in my opinion, is good. Feminism that requires the emasculation of men, bad. And they've jumped the shark so far on that we have had such consequence due to it. So we're missing fathers. We're missing the idea of men being men. And I think that you can say that men should be there being men in the way that that phrase espouses. And that doesn't mean that if you aren't that person, that you're bad. But right now, societally, men are not supposed to be that way at all, ever, anywhere.
Yeah. Yeah, and you need people to say that, too. Part of manning up is being able to say to another guy, hey, man up.
What does it mean when you say that?
I think I'm talking to Brad right now, and not on purpose, but because he's standing in front of me.
Yeah.
If I were to be in a situation where I felt like Brad were just kind of dropping the ball, and there was it wasn't like, I just need to show him compassion here. It was like, you just keep doing it, man up, get it done. He would know exactly what I meant when I said that.
Guys need inspiration in a different way. You know, when you tell a guy to man up, you're spurring him forward. It's not an insult to the man.
It's not at all.
It's
hard to hear. Yeah, but you still take it as like a challenge.
Well, it's a challenge, but too, you understand that there are people relying on you. So if I look at Ryan and say, "Hey, I need you to man up right here and do this," that means that I need his help to do this, and I can't do it without him. There's a whole lot more to it than just, do this and be tough or something. That's not it. It's a spurring on to action. It's more than just you're a wuss.
But men need to hear it.
We need to hear it that way.
Because you need to because you can say it wrong too.
Yeah.
You need to hear it because you need to know there's something riding on you.
Yeah.
You need to know that you have responsibility and that you are necessary, and it makes you feel good.
Yes. That's something that I think society has lost is this need for men need to feel like, I don't know. There's a book called Wild at Heart, and one of the things it talks about is every man needs a dragon to slay. They need something to conquer. It's innate in us, and whenever you're given that purpose, it gives you something to work toward. It makes your life feel like it means something. And whenever, what we're doing in society now is like if a man's like, hey, I'm not feeling right, we try to treat him with like words of encouragement or affirmation. And what he needs is he needs a purpose.
Yeah.
So we need to focus on that and get away from, what it is we've been doing.
The thing that I think is interesting about the conversation you just had is I can hear that conversation the way women who think that men are toxic, I can put myself in that position and hear what you're saying and compare everything that you discussed like it's unique only to men. But that's not true. What you just talked about, and you could correct me if I'm wrong, there are women who would operate similarly to the encouragement or motivation that you've said that men need. There are women who would function that way. And there are men who may not feel the motivation if you were to say that. There are men who would not respond the same way that you guys are saying that you would respond to it. But on the whole, most men need that, in my opinion, as well. I agree with that. And, you said that sometimes you need that encouragement or that motivation if someone says, hey, man up, let's get the job done. And like you said, that men need to know that something is relying on them, that is counting on them. I would say the converse is women assume that everything is riding on them all the time. Women assume that burden by virtue of waking up in the morning, that there is a whole host of things that are on me that I'm going to have to accomplish. And there's not really that, I would say, as much of an innate, like, I need that extra motivation or maybe the call out from somebody. It's almost the converse. They need the comfort from someone to come in and say, you're doing fine.
I get it.
You're getting it done. And it's an emotional state of mind that is just inherently different in men and women. It's not exclusive. It's not only. It's not always. But it is often. And to suggest that it isn't is ignorant to the reality and the biology that exists in men and women. And men, I'm constantly fascinated by it. I've told this story before, but it's one of my favorite stories. I have a friend who is, I don't even know if she's my friend anymore, honestly, because she's so opposed to my political views and I haven't talked to her in a long time. But we used to be very close friends. And she very, very feminist forward at a young age. And when I had people over to my house and the women were upstairs and the men were downstairs in the basement playing cards or something. And we needed to get into a bottle of wine. And we were trying to get it open. We couldn't get it open. And the conversation started to spur like, oh, maybe we could do this to get it open. I go, I got this. I can get this bottle open right now. And my friend said, what are you going to do? And I go, I'm going to walk down to the stairs where the men are. And all I'm going to say is, this bottle of wine is impossible to open. And then they're going to open it for us. And she's like, you can't do that. That's against everything you know as a woman. And I'm like, no, I want the wine. I want to get into the wine. So I did it. And they all stood up at one time. Every man that was down there, because they wanted to be the one to open the wine. Did I somehow or another sacrifice my strength as a woman to go down the stairs and utilize my wit to get into the bottle of wine? I don't feel like I sacrificed anything. The wine was opened.
I would say the exact opposite. You exercise the power of femininity to get that wine open.
I don't know how much of my femininity had anything to do with it. I just knew that the masculinity in the basement would go, roar, 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 roar. Give me the bottle of wine, I want to open it. And they did, and it wasn't a thing. And I came up, and most of the women upstairs were laughing, and I was like, here's your wine. You went first class. I mean, it's just the way we are. It's natural.
Yeah. And acting as if those things aren't real. Because you put it very well, that it's not as if these qualities are exclusive to each gender, but they are weighted toward each gender for sure. And everybody knows that. And everybody knows that some people don't fall into those traditional categories. Everybody already knows these things. We have gotten rid of the categories at all.
You're not allowed to talk about it.
You can't talk about it. And we've created people who are much more listless and in some cases miserable because they don't have any affirmation of those innate qualities.
You have to deny what is inherently real. And you're supposed to feel bad about it. And now we have moved out of a society where, you should accept people who are different than you. People like the idea of tolerance. Tolerance is actually bigoted now. If you're simply tolerating people who aren't like you, you are not good enough. But the truth is, I tolerate a ton of people.
Me.
I mean, I wasn't going to say it. I didn't want to be, what was that word? Recalcitrant. Yeah. Go to the Hans interview where he taught us some vocabulary at 12:25. No, I mean, there's just people who are incredibly different. And if you're not going through the day tolerating people, you are lying to yourself.
Of course.
And any given day, there are days where I tolerate my family. And there are absolutely days where my family tolerates me. It's part of the process. It's as natural as it could possibly be. And, to add to the wine story, I didn't go down and go, oh, I'm so weak that I can't open this because I am a woman.
You didn't tie your hands and feet first and hop down the stairs?
No, that'd have been really weird. They'd be like, what are you doing?
I was just off the railroad tracks.
I walked down the stairs and I said, man, this bottle of wine is impossible to open. They heard it as a challenge. I got my wine. And I shared. It was simple. It was obvious. That's how obvious it is. I challenge you to get a jelly jar or a pickle jar or something. The next time you have friends over and you've got couples, go to where the men are and say, this pickle jar is impossible to open, and see what happens. You know what's going to happen. And if you're a man listening right now, you want to be the one to open the pickle jar.
I kind of want to open a pickle jar right now, and I know it's just a hypothetical pickle jar. I'm still looking around.
Let's go get one.
Give me a jar.
Glue it shut.
You jerks. You took away my sense of manhood.
I want to take a quick break here, but when we come back, we're going to talk about a comment here from Scooter on the Annie Frey YouTube channel. Join us there in the chat as well. He highlights in Senator Hawley's book on masculinity, he says that heterosexual men must, quote, endure marriage. What does it mean when Hawley says that you should endure marriage? And do we agree with that statement? We need to know what you think, so you can leave your comments in the chat. You can also vote in the YouTube live chat poll today. Completely unrelated. Whose cocaine was it? Was it a White House visitor, Hunter Biden's staffer? It doesn't even matter. On the Annie Frey YouTube channel, join us. Back in a minute.
You're listening to The Annie Frey Show on St. Louis's home for conservative talk. Interact with Annie on Facebook. The Annie Frey Show.
A lot of people have security systems that have been in place for decades, and boy, is it out of date. If your business has some sort of access control system or a video surveillance system, and okay, let's just be honest, you may not even know how to work it. Centric Security and Automation is there to assess what you have and to help you get up to date, because you need to protect what you have there at the business. First and foremost, your people, yourself even. Centric Security is there to make sure that your system is working for you. They continually vet latest technology advancements, and they'll help secure your facility with secure cloud access control, AI-powered video surveillance systems, and their ability to identify people vehicles, anything that is coming into the presence and the property of your business or your enterprise is amazing. They are accessible. They are here in the bi-state region, and they are working with many clients around this area to make sure that they are safe, secure. It's Centric with a C. You can call them at 314-442-6860, 314-442-6860, or find them online at centricstl.com.
If you need a new bath or shower, call my friends at Bath Fitter of St. Louis. Mark Cox here. We love our new shower and tub enclosure. It looks fantastic. No demolition, no mess, and a lifetime guarantee. Right now, they're having a sale for 20% off up to $1,000 or zero interest until 2028. That's 5 years. Call 636-338-1648. That's 636-338-1648. Bath Fitter of St. Louis.
Are you nearing retirement or already retired and wondering how long your money will last? Are you also sick of worrying about losing your life savings in the next market crash? I'm Thomas Helbig with the Retirement Advisory Group.
Hi, I'm Bob Kershaw. As a family business, we are committed to protecting your retirement, whether you're nearing retirement or already retired. Let us build your own personalized structured income plan, which will show you how much income you can receive in retirement, but more importantly, it will show you how long your money will last. Stop wondering if you have enough to retire comfortably.
Call us now at 314-993-9494 for a no-cost, no-obligation retirement review. We'll teach you the strategies you won't hear from your broker or banker. And just for coming in, you'll get a copy of our latest edition book, Your Key to a Worry-Free Retirement. We've been helping our clients retire with confidence for the past 37 years. Let us help you. So go online at retirementkey.com. That's retirementkey.com.
The choice of a lawyer is an important decision and should not be based solely on advertisements.
We are Under Law, your St. Louis legal powerhouse. Auto accidents, work injuries, pharmaceutical litigations, we do it all.
Under Law Personal Injury Lawyers. Visit getjim.com.
The Annie Frey Show YouTube live chat poll of the day. Whose cocaine was it? White House visitor, Hunter Biden, staffer, doesn't matter. Lots of comments on this. We'd love to get yours. Sign into the YouTube live chat poll and let us know what you think. It's 1:45. This time check is sponsored by Jerry Kelly Heating and Air Conditioning.
It's time for a $98 AC tune-up.
Connect with the personalities and give your feedback. 97.1 FM Talk is on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. For content that's additional to the radio, join us there. The Annie Frey Show is streaming online. Watch us live on YouTube and subscribe.
Welcome back to the Annie Frey Show. We've been talking this hour, or starting with Tyrus at 105. Rewind on the Odyssey app to hear it, or check the Annie Frey Show podcast about the idea of manhood, of being a man, whatever that means, or manning up. And I wanted to, we've talked about being a man, we've talked about fatherhood, and now I want to highlight a comment from Scooter on the Annie Frey YouTube channel. He highlights in Senator Hawley's book on masculinity, he says that heterosexual men must, quote, endure marriage. You both are heterosexual men who are married. Do you agree with that statement? Because I think that, I mean, the follow-up comments suggest that that is a bad take on Senator Hawley's point there, that heterosexual men should endure marriage. Ryan, what do you think?
Outside of context, I don't think it sounds like a great quote, no. But there is endurance that comes with being married, or literally any important relationship in your life. You have to have endurance to make it. Saying that you endure marriage without the context of what he's saying in the book, I don't know that I would say it that way, but you certainly have to be able to do that, because marriage is not going to be the honeymoon for any time past the honeymoon. Like, it's going to be something you have to work for, you have to fight for. And so if that's what he's saying, then I think he's making a good point.
Brad?
Yeah, I'm going to lean in with Ryan here. I outside of the context, I'm not really sure what Senator Hawley's saying, and I'm not even sure if that's the correct, wording of it. But if you're talking about like a man's default setting, a heterosexual man a homosexual man, I don't know. The default setting isn't necessarily to get married and to settle down. And what your desire is to be with as many women as possible. Well, you have to set your desires aside to do what is right and what is good. What you want in certain situations isn't always what is best or what is good or what is best for you. So you have to set those things aside. And in that sense, it is an enduring thing. The other part of it is like Ryan said, nobody ever said marriage was going to be easy. People say it all the time. That's a lie. Marriage isn't easy. Marriage takes work. Marriage, you work at it, you work together, it's a struggle together. But in the end, it's worth it. It's why you do it. And so, again, I'm not really sure what Senator Hawley was saying in his book there, but that's my thoughts on it.
I don't have the quote from the book either, and that's probably by design the way it was injected into the chat. But I think it's an interesting point by Senator Hawley, and one that I could see how on the surface would be easily criticized, especially if cherry-picked. But the idea that you have to endure marriage, I think, is a real thing. You don't have to make an oath or a commitment to do something that is simple. And when you make a marriage commitment, you are making a lifelong commitment to, through the best and the worst of everything to come, to stand by it. And I mean, that's really what endurance is. I honestly think from my standpoint, and I say this as somebody who is happily married, that endurance is exactly what marriage is. It's endurance through all good things and bad things. And for heterosexual men, which is what is highlighted in Senator Hawley's book, to have to know that marriage isn't optional, I think women need to know that too. We don't have a society right now that values the commitment that is made when you get married. We don't have a society that values the traditional ways that families came to be in any way, shape, or form. And that has been nuked from every which way it possibly can, from the way we educate, from the way we entertain, from the way that we legislate. There are so many infiltrating angles that suggest that everything in life, as an American at least right now, the en vogue thing to do, which is proving fruitless, is to serve yourself. And the point of being in a committed marriage, not relationship, marriage, is to say that I will endure this even when I want to run like hell away from this instance. And you will, in fact, face those situations in your marriage, and you have to set yourself aside for something that you've committed to that's greater than yourself. So for Senator Hawley to come out and say this, I think is bold. I think it's right. I honestly don't know why it would be any different for homosexual couples if marriage is to serve the same purpose than it is for heterosexual couples. On the whole marriage issue as a whole, since before I even had my Saturday show on this station, been an advocate for the idea of the government being completely and totally out of the marriage business. For government to establish any sort of benefits that come from marriage right now as we understand it, for the government to only be in the business of civil unions, and for churches to be tasked with the idea of marriages. And if you are to get married in a church that recognizes your marriage, whether you are heterosexual, whether there's an age difference between legal consenting parties, or whatever the difference might be, it could be a homosexual couple. If that church wants to recognize that marriage, then you can get married in that church, which is the way it is right now. But for the government to only play in civil unions, because I don't think the government has any business playing in what a marriage is to me and to many other people of all sexualities, an oath that involves God. I don't think that the government has any business in that. They certainly don't have any business defining it, because we have scripture that does that. And that scripture is open to interpretation from different church to different church. But the idea that when you commit to somebody, whoever your spouse is, that you're committing for life, what good is it if we don't value the idea of commitment and selflessness because the sum of the two parts is greater?
Our entire society, and I'm not going to make anybody's jaw drop by saying this, is set up to play to those most base instincts, especially for guys, but maybe for girls. I'm speaking as a guy here. That you should.
Will you speak as a girl later?
No, I will not. After 3, maybe.
Like usual.
Honey, I'm home.
You were wearing my clothes last week.
No, don't talk about that.
That's real. That's not even made up. And you were game.
The base instincts of a man is not monogamy. They're not. That's why you take vows, is because you're saying, I understand what I'm getting into here. I'm going to vow to be consistent. I'm going to vow to be monogamous with this one person. And all of society, I think you said it, we've moved toward what satisfies you right now. Everything else be damned. Do what makes you happy in the moment, and don't think about what comes next. Don't think about consequences. Do it now.
Even your definition of a man's desire, natural, innate desire to not be monogamous in a relationship, and as Brad said earlier, to be with as many women as possible, is the entire predicate for the pro-abortion movement. Because if you look at the idea of consequence-free sex, and you look at it through the eyes of feminism, what you get is women who can enjoy that area of their life with no consequence, just like men. But the truth of it is, there's always consequence to all of it. Men are able to run from it. And so the feminist solution to provide women the same opportunity is to allow women to run from it as well. But it is not the same. It is not the same sacrifice for men as it is for women. And the greatest irony of the pro-abortion movement, which is just a huge, first of all, you can Google Margaret Sanger and see what that crazy lady had to do with the pro-abortion and Planned Parenthood movement. That's further than just like women wanting to have consequence-free sex just like men. There is nothing that has been put into existence to provide men with access to consequence-free sex more than abortion. The greatest irony of all of this, in order to make women as sexually free as men, they have made men to a place where they can be emotional about the consequence-free sex that they are able to access now. And it's all at the expense of women. And to deny that that is the urge that exists for men, and that women will often, can women use that part of their life for, the benefit of pleasure the way men will do so, maybe flippantly? There's a case that can be made that absolutely they can, but they don't get to live the same consequence-free aspect that men do. And feminism did that. And women are the victims again because of it. Which is why I tell you, if you are part of a pro-life movement, if you have it in your heart, like I have it in my heart, do not discount these women. Because the feminists who've been pushing this agenda have taken advantage of these women, handed over the spoils of this abortion movement to men, and women are still left suffering. It's unreal. Let's take a quick break. Morning Frey Show in a minute.
If you're hiring, it can feel like you're trying to find a needle in a haystack. You can hope the right person comes along, or you can just use ZipRecruiter. And now you can try it for free at ZipRecruiter.com/radio. In fact, ZipRecruiter has helped a lot of business owners find their needle in a haystack, like Marco, president of operations at Telly Tires and Auto Centers. Because Telly Tires has grown a lot in the last few years, Marco needed to hire everyone from a receptionist to a store manager to a head mechanic.
ZipRecruiter helps me find all the right people, even the most difficult jobs to fill. ZipRecruiter helps me keep my business running.
Take it from Marco and millions of other businesses who've used ZipRecruiter. ZipRecruiter can help you find the needle in the haystack.
See why 4 out of 5 employers who post a job on ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate within the first day. And right now, you can try ZipRecruiter for free. That's right, free at ZipRecruiter.com/radio. That's ZipRecruiter.com/RADIO. ZipRecruiter.com/radio. ZipRecruiter, the smartest way to hire.
When you partner with Stewart's American Mortgage to access your next mortgage, if you're looking to purchase a house, there's no better place to get a competitive mortgage than Stewart's American Mortgage using the Bagel Loan. Google the Bagel Loan if you want to learn more details about it than I can tell you here in 60 seconds. But let's talk about a 1% down conventional plus Bagel Loan. Stewart's American Mortgage is the only lender in the country with a 1% down. He had a buyer just closed on a $260,000 loan with $4,600 down, which is amazing. If you want to talk to Stewie about your unique situation, he's waiting for your phone call or your text. Reach out to him at 314-324-4440. 314-324-4440. Talk to him about the Bagel Loan and how when you use the Bagel Loan, you're not going to pay any of those fees that other lenders charge you for when you come to closing, and all of a sudden that bill comes due. It's a lofty bill. Not with the Bagel Loan, not with Stewie, not with Stewart's American Mortgage. 314-324-4440. Google the Bagel Loan, NMLS number 226715.
Hi, this is Brian with Velocity Home Buyers, and I buy houses cash. If you own a house and want to sell it fast at a fair price, call me at 314-782-3333. I can pay cash and close in as little as 7 days. I buy houses in any condition and any price range in the St. Louis area. I'm a private real estate investor who buys several houses a month, and I want to buy more. I buy inherited houses, divorce houses, behind in payment houses. I even buy my tenant won't pay me the rent houses. Do you own a house that needs updating, but you don't have the time or money for it? Great, because I love buying outdated houses. I buy vacant houses, job relocation houses, and foreclosure houses. If you own a house and want to sell it fast, call me at 314-782-3333. That's 314-782-3333.
KFTK FM Florissant. From the Under Law Injury Lawyers, GetJim.com studio. 97.1 FM Talk. Always live on the free Odyssey app.
New aid for Ukraine. I'm Lisa Brady, Fox News. And there are reports the upcoming package to be announced tomorrow could include cluster munitions. Pentagon spokesman Brigadier General Pat Ryder not confirming that moments ago.
In terms of our allies and our partners, unity continues to remain very strong when it comes to supporting Ukraine and providing them with the capabilities that they need to be effective on the battlefield.
Sources tell the Associated Press the U.S. is expected to provide cluster munitions with a reduced dud rate, meaning fewer unexploded rounds that can cause unintended civilian deaths. The Pentagon says the U.S. focus in Syria remains defeating the ISIS mission. Ryder accusing Russia of unsafe behavior after 3 Russian fighter jets harassed drones over Syria. Iran's Revolutionary Guard forces seized a commercial ship in international waters earlier today. The U.S. Navy says it happened in the Arabian Gulf and that the seized vessel may have been engaged in smuggling activity.
U.S. naval forces deployed maritime assets to closely monitor the situation. Ultimately, U.S. Naval Forces Central Command assessed the circumstances of this event did not warrant further response.
Fox's Jennifer Griffin at the Pentagon. Yesterday, a U.S. warship had intervened when Iran tried to seize 2 oil tankers in the Gulf of Oman. The Iranian vessels leaving when the USS McFall arrived. A senior U.S. official noting today's incident was near Iran. The vessel was much smaller and did not issue a distress call. Longtime aide to former President Trump, Walt Nauta, pleads not guilty in the classified documents case.
When the two appeared in court last month, Mr. Trump pleaded not guilty to all 37 charges against him, but the judge postponed Nauta's arraignment because he had yet to retain an attorney licensed to practice in Florida.
Fox's Jonathan Seri. America is listening to Fox News.
Don't let earache from swimmer's ear, clogged ears, or allergies ruin your day. Get fast, effective relief from the pain and itching with Hyland's Earache Drops, the #1 best-selling earache treatment for over 10 years. See why it's received thousands of 5-star reviews and was awarded Best Over-the-Counter Medicine and Health Product in Earache Relief by U.S. News and World Report. Find Hyland's Earache Drops in the eye and ear aisle at Walmart, Walgreens, CVS, Rite Aid, and Target. Claims based on traditional homeopathic practice, not accepted medical evidence, not FDA evaluated.
Go with your gut. Your dog's immune system is based in the gut. A diet lacking in nutrients can cause itching, scratching, and a weak immune system. However, there is a solution. DINOVITE. Dinovite.
It took a grand total of 2 weeks. The dog stopped itching, the hair stopped falling out.
Try Dinovite for free. Just pay shipping and handling. Learn more at dinovite.com/radio.
Happier, healthier with every bite. Over 1 million pets helped with Dinovite.
Air Comfort Service, heating, cooling, and insulation, weather.
Chief Meteorologist Dave Murray.
Partly sunny skies this afternoon. It's a little cooler than we have been, and we'll take that. 85 degrees. Still could be a spot thunderstorm, but that action is moving away. Tonight, delightful, partly cloudy skies. Beautiful evening. 62 for the overnight low. Friday, partly sunny, nice for summer, 85. But we've got periods of showers and thunderstorms in play Friday evening, Friday night, Saturday, and Sunday. This is 97.1 FM Talk, Chief Meteorologist Dave Murray.
Del Walmsley and the Wealth Cycle.
This is the wealth cycle that I've taught for 30 years. Buy one house, 10 houses, an apartment, 2 apartments, 8, 20, 500 units, 1,000 units, 2,000, 5,000 units. And as you keep putting the money and the profits back in, you become one of those rich people. And much quicker than you'd even believe.
Learn Del's Wealth Cycle at GiveMeTotalFreedom.com. Use promo code 2023. Save 60%. Code 2023. GiveMeTotalFreedom.com. GiveMeTotalFreedom.com.
You've been looking for a reason to get to the Diamond Shop located in Clayton, and I've got it for you. July 20th, they have a great event. It's called Diamonds and Doggies, Thursday, July 20th from 5 to 7:30 p.m. They are partnering with the APA for a pet adoption event. If you go to the Diamond Shop, you can check out some of the pups that are there for adoption, and you can take advantage of amazing specials. So what better way to save money and also check out the Diamond Shop partnership with the APA. Get 40% off all Colorstone in-stock jewelry. And I have seen the jewelry that they have there with these different stones and birthstones and so on and so forth. They're so beautiful. You can get sapphires, rubies, emeralds, and more. If you're a VIP at the Diamond Shop, you can become a VIP by going to thediamondshop.net. You can get an extra 10% off during this event, and 5% of all of the sales are going to benefit the APA Adoption Center. I'll remind you, they have a 6-month same as cash financing, and we are within 6 months of Christmas. So if you're thinking about getting something special for someone special this holiday season, now is a wonderful time to check out the Diamond Shop and start that purchase today. Online at thediamondshop.net.
If you need solid hires fast, you need Indeed. The all-in-one hiring solution makes it easy to attract, interview, and hire candidates from the same place. Want to find your next great hire? Visit Indeed.com/credit.
You're listening to the Annie Frey Show live from the Air Comfort Service Heating, Cooling, and Insulation Studio. Air Comfort Service is celebrating 54 years of residential and commercial service, maintenance, and installation of heating and cooling systems. Get in your comfort zone. Visit aircomfortservice.com.
St. Louis's home for conservative talk.
Awesome. That's what I'm talking about.
97.1 FM Talk.
I look forward to hearing the station all day.
Everyone is welcome. This hour of the Annie Frey Show is brought to you by Ruler Foods. Low prices, no coupons. Ruler Foods.
That is exactly what I needed to hear.
Thank God someone here knows what they're talking about.
That's us. That's right. Gotta love this American ride.
All right, you need to take the time and get the full picture.
Come on, turn the radio on. It's Saturday and I won't be long.
Don't get me wrong, I love the ladies. I mean, they rev my engine, but they don't belong in the newsroom. It is Anchor Man, not Anchor Lady.
What do you want from me? I'm not America's sweetheart.
Goodness sake, kid. Keep your voice down. Your father's listening to the radio.
I'm not America's sweetheart.
This is the Annie Frey Show.
Hey, welcome back to the Annie Frey Show. Just said that to the room.
Very, very professional.
Hey
Hi,
guys,
Annie.
welcome back.
Before we get back on, I just want to say hi.
Unfortunately, nobody needed to know that, but here I am telling people.
Yeah, you said it, so.
It's better than saying something on air that I wasn't supposed to.
Just get it all out.
Have we ever
on
done
air
that
right
in a really bad way?
Yeah, well, I have.
You did?
Remember? I spelled a word.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, but that was in the middle of the segment. Did you get a...
Oh, like accidentally do it?
Yeah, like we didn't know. Did you? What was the outcome of that?
Nothing. It was just, don't do that.
Was it a name for a whale?
Mm-hmm.
Do I remember that?
Yep. In French.
So it's pronounced differently.
No, name for a seal.
For a seal? It's a word that is pronounced differently, but the FCC says that we can't say that word, and George Carlin also. We can't say that word on the air. So Ryan was like, I'll just spell it.
But I spelled it real slow, like that would make a difference.
Yeah, so that everybody could hear.
Yeah. I wasn't like, it's just spelled like this. I'm like,
I don't remember.
well, the first letter is.
Was that before Hannah?
No. I was here
Yeah.
for that. I just don't remember what word it was, but don't spell it for me.
Well, we will talk to you about it off the air.
Okay.
We think.
Okay.
I'm talking about open mic situations. I don't know that we've ever had anything that's detrimental.
I don't think so.
Our listeners are pretty good about if we ever have an open mic on the live stream, they'll be like, hey. I don't know that I'd be like that. I feel like if I was a listener of something and there was a hot mic.
Everybody shut up!
And then you turn up the volume and listen in.
I love hearing it.
When you get a butt dial voicemail, what do?
I'll listen to the first 15 seconds.
Me 2 hour or 2 minutes and 48 seconds of voicemail.
I'll listen to see if it is indeed an unintentional call. Then if it is,
You got
I'll
a lot
still
of
listen
just
to a little bit.
ambient noise, 2 minute and 48 second voicemails
sometimes
that are purposeful.
it may be a couple seconds before the person realized that the beep had gone in, and so it might be like, oh, hey.
Is it because you didn't adequately describe in the voice message what you're supposed to do when the phone rings and then all of a sudden it stops?
Yeah, I get a lot of, because mine just is like beep, or it says my name and it goes to beep, something like that. I get a lot of people saying, oh, sorry, I didn't know what I was supposed to do after the beep. You didn't explain that to me.
You get a lot of that?
Yeah, a lot of that.
Is it you calling your voicemail?
Yeah, no kidding.
I panicked. I didn't know what to do. Yeah, I'm listening in on those.
Mm-hmm.
For a bit, right?
Especially depending on who it is.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
If it's my husband or something and it's just him like barking at kids in the car or something, I'm not gonna listen to all that.
Right.
But if it's like our boss, I'm
That's
like
juicy.
I'm getting investigators in on it and turning it up to see what's going down.
Oh, I'm doing the same thing with radio. I can't believe our listeners are so nice to us that they'll say on the live chat, hey, your mics are still on. We haven't done it on the air, but we have done it on YouTube before.
Yeah, which is a reason you should not come to the
Yeah, no
YouTube page. I want to talk about this subject, tipflation. We have talked, it's a recurring conversation on the show here. When do you tip? And the idea that you can go up to, you talked about being at a winery, Hannah.
Mm-hmm.
And what was briefly the situation?
We were at a winery. You went up to a window. The person says, what type of wine do you like? You say the wine. They give it to you in a bucket. They hand it to you. They turn around an iPad. Do you give them a tip or not?
There are places where you can be asked for a tip that are completely automated.
Yeah. What?
Like there's not even a human.
Like where?
I just
Who
read,
am I tipping?
Yeah, and I can't remember if somebody told me this just a couple days ago or if I read it on Twitter or something, but somebody said that they walked up to get frozen yogurt at one of those frozen yogurt stands where you pull your own down and it goes into the bowl, and then you walk up and you get your own toppings, and you walk up and pay for yourself, and then they flip the screen around and go, you want a tip? For what?
Yes. And if it's in Illinois, do you guys off the top of your head know what Illinois minimum wage is right now?
Isn't it like $15 an hour?
Is it up to 15?
What?
I thought it was still stair-stepping up.
$13.70
Yeah.
per hour for standard work hours and $20.55 for overtime. Holy crap.
Don't give them any ideas, Brad.
They're working their way toward that, Hannah.
Increased to the minimum wage for tipped workers. This is wild. Any of you guys ever work jobs that you were paid a salary that was based on you also receiving tips? Not did you get tips?
No.
Nope.
No.
So, for instance, my very first job was being a busser at PK's in Edwardsville, and it was supposed to include tips. Now, I think minimum wage at the time was $5.05, maybe $5.15. It might have been not even quite $5. I made $3.50 an hour to bus tables. I mean, it might quite literally be some of the hardest work that I've ever done, physically demanding. Bussing tables is gross. It's not fun. And you're not the person who gets the tip on the bill. All the waiters at the end of the night would tip 10% out. They were supposed to tip 10% out. And then you would split that 10% with however many bussers there were. So if there were 2 bussers, 50-50. 4 bussers on a Friday night at PK's, I don't think it amounted to minimum wage. How much do you think a tipped worker, so I was at $3.50, and that would have been in 2000, maybe 2000.
$3.50?
I made $3.50 an hour.
I'm going to guess 5, which is a jump.
This is right now in Illinois.
Tipped workers.
8.
10.
8.
What?
You Googled it.
No, I didn't. It was a good guess.
$8 an hour. That is, I did not make $8 an hour until I got to 97.1. I made more than that when I started at 97.1, but I did not make $8 an hour until my second job in radio.
I still don't.
I know. Well, we're constantly giving you tips.
Never, ever appreciated it.
So the minimum wage in Illinois, if you're going to a restaurant, if you're going to Applebee's and you're being waited on, that person, minimum wage is $8 plus the tips that you give them. So this article from CNBC, so I kind of like that it's coming from a business angle a little bit. CNBC says, tired of tipflation 5 times, it's okay not to tip, according to etiquette experts.
Ooh.
So I'm kind of willing to go by this as gospel and not feel bad for not tipping anymore in these 5 instances. And I thought maybe you'd feel the benefit of that yourself.
I'm going to print this article out and leave it as a tip.
Just
take a highlighter with you.
For the automated machine that you got your ice cream, just be like, here's why.
It's not me, it's CNBC.
Professionals, as a blanket rule, you do not need to tip anyone who earns a salary or performs a trade. That means you don't have to tip doctors, lawyers, teachers, plumbers, or cable technicians. They say not only would it not be expected, it would be highly unorthodox and very awkward. And in certain situations, quote, you could be seen as attempting to curry some sort of favor that might be some sort of a bribe. I have had people come. I've never been like to my doctor, like to the doctor whom I absolutely love. He delivered my babies. I've never been like, would 20 do it? That's ridiculous. I think he's financially fine. Or I've never had to do that with a lawyer or anything like that either. But I have had service people come to my house and wonder, like, should I tip you? I'll tell you this. When Air Comfort Service comes to my house, I always ask if it's okay, but I always get them a 6-pack of beer.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And a lottery ticket.
I feel like that's a typical trade for people that come in. I wouldn't have known. Like, if I got a new house and someone came to work on my air conditioner that was like a family friend or something, I would think that I was supposed to tip them. So.
You feel like you want to do something because they provided you a service, but you are in fact paying for the service and they are getting paid to do their job, which is the real big question here. Who is getting paid to do their job without an extra 5 or a few ones or 20 or whatever it might be out of your wallet? So they say professionals, you don't need to tip them if they earn a salary or perform a trade. So cross them off the tipping list. The second one is counter service.
Really?
CNBC says, as a rule, anyone working at a counter is earning a wage, while those delivering food either to your table or to your home rely on tips as a major part of their income. For that reason, tipping people who work behind a counter, such as a barista or a cashier, is not a requirement as far as etiquette experts are concerned, even if the tablet suggests otherwise.
I'm going to ask them this. Are you making a full wage or are you making a tippable wage, ma'am?
May I see your pay stub?
Wow. Even a barista?
The expert, Elaine Swan, that's a very lovely name. I trust her.
Yeah, I do too now.
Says, quote, when they turn that device around, it's this glaring thing and people feel shamed into tipping, but you don't have to. That's not to say a tip for a counter worker is out of the question, though. It's a nice gesture to offer a tip to a worker who goes above and beyond the service. For example, maybe you frequent the establishment regularly and they have your order memorized. Hello, Scooters.
Yep, I get that.
I feel like if it's a big corporation, I don't feel as bad. If it's big coffee, I don't feel bad. But if it's
big coffee,
if it's mom and pop small business, I feel like I need to help. Anybody agree?
And there's probably no difference for the worker.
No, but
I'm really of the mindset, like Annie was saying, a service above and beyond.
Yeah.
The first one we talked about trade workers. I've never tipped a trade worker except for one time, and this was a mechanic that fixed our car while we were on vacation away from home by several hours, and he stayed over the weekend to fix the car.
It's above and beyond.
that's above and beyond. We got him a really nice dinner. It's like a $100 gift card because he didn't have to do that.
These rules need to be posted on billboards across the country.
I agree. I'm not done yet.
Keep going.
Open bar events. If you go to an event with an open bar, the bar staff may or may not put out a tip jar. As a rule of thumb, quote, according to Swan, keep in mind that the host of that event has already likely taken care of the tip. That tip would be included in what they had to pay for the venue or the bartending service. That means you're not obligated to tip. It is, of course, appreciated and may help get you better service throughout the night. So maybe a stiffer drink.
Okay.
But I mean, I've been to open bar weddings, and it's if you go to that. Usually, the only time I drink at weddings is if it's open bar because I'm not a beer drinker. So if it's beer and wine, I'll just say, Jared, why don't you have the free beers and I'll drive after the event. If it's an open bar, then he drives.
I was just in this situation 2 weeks ago.
Did you tip?
I tried to, and they told me no.
Yeah. I mean, you do pay for. We had a beer and wine open bar for our wedding, and there was a tip included, and that was a long time ago. If there's a busy bar and there are multiple people to take orders from, the fact that you acknowledge them may get you a heavier pour. Maybe they gave you a cup of ice you were asking for, $1 here or there isn't much to ask. So maybe that's just the act of putting a buck into a tip jar. I mean, that adds up over the course of a night. But if it's an open bar, no, not interested. Don't need a tip. The fourth one, double tipping. You don't have to tip twice for the same service. Swan has recently heard feedback from women who have tipped the technician who worked on their nails at a salon and then were prompted again to tip at the counter. That is just the establishment trying to get more money out of you. The situation get a little trickier in cities that have implemented minimum wage requirements for tipped workers, such as restaurant servers. Some restaurants in these cities will apply a 20% service charge to your bill before presenting you with the option to tip.
I've heard about this service charge thing. I don't know what's going on with that. I don't understand
There are just fees and charges coming out of everywhere. And if you want it, you just pay it and it's ridiculous.
Oh, gosh. I mean, I've said this before, probably on air, but the hotel rooms thing, when you show up, you pay your amount and you show up and you go, oh, there's a room fee.
You booked a room for $140 and it ends up being $210.
Yeah. There's a deposit you got to put down and you will get that back, but you won't get the room fee. Can you tell me what a room fee? What am I paying for in the regular fee then? Other than a room?
I thought that's what I initially paid.
I'm not tipping twice at the nail salon. I already kind of feel like I'm getting scammed, paying a lot of money.
You said that quieter.
For my nails, and I will give an initial tip, but tipping twice, no.
I'm not going to the nail salon at all anymore.
You should. We can tell. Ooh.
What? What?
Get a pedicure, Ryan. Come on.
He has. It was a bumblebee one, which is my recollection.
That's right. That's right.
You can't shame him here.
How could I forget?
He has none.
How could I forget? I'm sorry.
I got out ahead of shame when I was about 20.
Insert the YouTube short here of Ryan telling the completely normal story about getting a pedicure and getting a design when he did it.
That's right.
The last one, poor service. You're never obligated to tip someone when they've provided you poor service or if you had a rude interaction with them. In the case of a one-on-one service, such as a haircut, this is pretty cut and dried. In fact, if a barber so ruined your hair that you felt they didn't deserve a tip, you likely wouldn't be out of line for asking for a full refund. In the case of a restaurant, it gets a little trickier. Swan recommends a sliding scale for restaurant tipping, with 20% as a standard and more if a server goes above and beyond. Even in the face of bad service, she wouldn't go lower than 10%. And if that's the case, you still have to ask yourself the question, namely, is the server at fault? That is a huge part of the equation.
Yeah, it is.
You could have a really negative experience at a restaurant that the server has nothing to do with. Is it still your obligation to tip the 20%? If the kitchen screwed up, if something else was messed up, if they tried to make it right and for whatever reason it just...
I don't think you are still obligated to tip the full percent because it's about the customer experience. You can't be going into all the economics of who's getting what all the time. You went to eat a meal, the meal wasn't great. You're not going to leave as good of a tip.
Yeah, but the in that instance, the cooks are getting paid their full salary no matter what. So basically what you're doing in that instance is you're saying, hey, you server, I'm going to take out my anger and aggression on you because you're the person you're the front of the company.
Well,
that's not fair to the server. If they did everything that they could do to make it right, and that it was the cooks that were screwing up, there's nothing a server can do about
My
that.
recommendation when you're in this situation is to speak to a manager and do so nicely and respectfully, because if you got food that you weren't going to eat or wasn't right, you shouldn't pay for the food. If the server was doing their job, you should still tip that server. If the kitchen is what was messing up, in my opinion, you shouldn't pay for the things that weren't right. But if it's not the server's fault, you should still tip that person accordingly. And if you talk to the manager, and there are ways to talk to the manager for the purpose of getting a situation right, not for the purpose of ruining people's day. And when you go into that conversation, there's a huge difference in that approach. And if you acknowledge when approaching a person in management that you're really trying to make a situation right and not try to exert some sort of authority or power over somebody because, the customer's always right. I mean, the customer isn't always right, especially in this day and age, but the customer is always the customer. And you got to make a decision at some point. Do you want to retain them as a customer or not? And there are times where the answer is no, I think we're good without doing this further. But if you're having a really bad experience with something, if you ordered something and you wanted it without tomatoes and it came out with a bunch of tomatoes on it and you sent it back and then it didn't come until everybody was done with their food, it's, in my opinion, totally fair, whether you get the salad or not eventually, to say something about that. And if they take the salad off your bill, you can tip according to what's left with the bill and the server still gets theirs.
Yeah, totally. But the server, if it's bad, they better be apologetic. And they have to be on your side. They can't be trying to cover for the cook.
Yeah.
Because if that's the case, then you're part of the system. And I'm putting the whole system on trial by not tipping you.
You be our ambassador for Tipflation. So they say don't tip for poor service, don't double tip, you don't have to tip at open bar events, you don't have to tip anybody who's participating in counter service, which includes baristas, which is kind of shocking and jarring to me. Or people who are professionals. That is what CNBC says, and love to know what you think about it. You can leave a comment, and we will maybe feature some of those in the rest of the show. When we come back, we got Trisha in here for Annie, Are You Okay? And the results at 2:45 with Hannah to today's live chat poll. Whose cocaine was it? You got 4 options. Go to the Annie Frey YouTube to find out what they are. Vote, comment, back in a minute.
This is the Annie Frey Show. Follow Annie on Twitter at Annie Frey Show.
RulerFoods.com, simple, smart, and fresh. When you are shopping for your groceries and you're tired of the increasing bill, I mean, good grief, we've been talking about that for the last segment. Everything is becoming more expensive. It's becoming more difficult to make ends meet, to make sure that the paychecks make it all the way to the end of the month. Ruler Foods is a fantastic and smart solution for your grocery bill. You can find all of their sale items online at rulerfoods.com, but right now they have through September 12th back to school savings on really great products that you're likely putting in your cart each and every time you shop for groceries. We'll start with the fun stuff. The Kroger Deluxe Ice Cream, $5.49 for a 128-ounce package. Those Kroger cheese slices, 12 ounces, $1.99. Kroger breakfast bars, they are $1.79 for a 6.3 to 10.4 ounce package. Kroger fully cooked bacon, 2.1 ounce packages, 2 for $5. And Kroger tub lunch meat, 7 to 9 ounces, 2 for $6. You get those Kroger brands at Ruler Foods prices, and you make sure that when you are shopping at Ruler Foods, that you understand how easy it is to save each and every time. Find them online at rulerfoods.com.
This Little Light is a new podcast hosted by Flea from the Red Hot Chili Peppers. Join him as he explores falling in love with music, music education, and the creative process while interviewing the biggest names in music, like Rick Rubin.
I like things that are stripped down. I've always liked things that are stripped down. Then I can get to the point where I like something that's stripped down and what's it like with an orchestra.
This Little Light is a presentation of Cadence 13. Subscribe and download it now on the free Odyssey app or wherever you get your podcasts.
This is a special alert to all Americans who own a vehicle with less than 200,000 miles with an auto warranty about to expire or with no warranty coverage at all. Due to a decline in the economy, CarShield is announcing a low-cost month-to-month vehicle protection plan that is now available to the public to save any driver out-of-pocket expenses on future auto repairs. Call now to find out how you can pay almost nothing for covered auto repairs. Yes, you heard that correctly. Pay almost nothing for covered auto repairs. An open phone line has been established for all drivers to call for a free quick quote. Call 800-652-5241 now. Drivers who are covered will not have to pay for covered repairs again. This protection plan is at an all-time low. Additionally, drivers who activate this vehicle protection today will also receive free roadside assistance, free towing, and car rental options at no additional cost. Call us for your free quick quote today. 800-652-5241. That's 800-652-5241. What do you have to lose? Call 800-652-5241. Again, 800-652-5241.
Come to the Enchanted Attic. Come to the Enchanted Attic. Come to the Enchanted Attic, and the mysteries of life shall be revealed. Gaze into a crystal ball to see your future. Breathe in the exotic fragrances of incense, candles, and essential oils. Adorn your body with jewelry encrusted with mystical gemstones from around the world. Why, many who enter the magical realm of the Enchanted Attic feel as though they have entered another dimension in time and space. But actually, in reality, they have just entered 304 South Main Street in historic St. Charles, home of the famous Enchanted Attic. This is Diane, and you need to come to the Enchanted Attic. It's mystical, magical, and a whole lot of fun. Open every day, free gift with purchase. You'll love this store.
You're listening to the Annie Frey Show live from the Air Comfort Service Heating, Cooling, and Insulation Studio. Summer's just getting started. Still need your air conditioner checked? Schedule your HVAC system check for only $54. This is a limited time offer. For details, visit aircomfortservice.com.
With Odyssey music stations, there's a different station for every taste, and they're all free. Listen to 97.1 live on your phone or browse the selection of music stations and make a soundtrack to your workday. It's all at Odyssey.com.
Say, hey now, baby. Oh, mama, don't play now, baby. Say, hey now, baby. So let's go.
The Annie Frey Show is streaming online. Watch us live on YouTube and subscribe.
Love me now. Let the house on you, am I lucky or not? Lucky or not? Lucky or not? You gotta tell me if you love me or not. Love me or not? Love me or not? I'm wishing for you, am I lucky or not? Lucky or not?
Welcome back to the Annie Frey Show. Trish in for Annie. Are you okay? Happy Thursday.
And now it's time to play Is Annie Okay With This?
Hey guys.
Hello.
Hey.
Hey.
FAA approves prototype for flying cars. The agency has officially certified a prototype for a flying car dubbed the Model A. The all-electric vehicle is capable of driving on roads like a normal car and can also fly a distance of 110 miles with vertical takeoff and landing capabilities. Aleph Automotive says the vehicle will sell for a cool $300,000 and be available by the end of 2025. Whoa. Annie, are you okay with flying cars?
Doesn't that seem like the one marker of the future?
Mm-hmm. It's about time. Yeah.
I think it's past time.
Literally,
according to the Back to the Future.
Yeah, it is past time that we get the flying cars. I would like to see them come down in price a little bit. I don't want to necessarily see a whole lot of regulations on them either, because if I'm going to buy one, I want to be able to fly it around. I want to be able to go up right up to a window and be like, hey, I'm in a car, to somebody in their apartment. They're like, oh my gosh, that guy's in a car and it's flying.
So I think the natural conclusion is no, I'm not okay with it. Absolutely not. That's real creepy, Ryan.
Well, I don't want to spy on people. I just want to surprise them. You know,
at their window?
That's
an act of service.
You having a board meeting?
Mood.
Check this out. It's a car. And you're on the 15th floor.
Do you ever go back and listen to the show and hear yourself for the first time?
No, I don't really listen to the show, as you know.
Even when you're on it
Yeah.
I
actively.
do. Like, does someone ever say to you, "Oh yeah, you were talking about that and the other thing," and think, "Why did I do that?"
Oh, that happens every day. Yeah, that happens very, very often.
Yeah?
Oh, when you guys were saying this, and I'm like, I said what?
Excuse me? I did no such thing.
I take offense at that, sir. You're like, I'm telling you an exact quote from yourself. And I'm like, I don't believe you.
I feel that was the Ryan Shire Wiggles.
Yeah, it
voice.
was for a second.
It was a minute.
He came out.
Yeah, he did.
Put him back.
I am.
We always knew he was hiding. As far as flying cars go, I just assume that that's something that will eventually take place. But I don't like there have to be, sorry to contradict lore here, but there do have to be roads. You can't have no roads. You can't have cars just flying over people's houses.
I was wondering about this too. Traffic signals. I mean, air traffic control is a thing. Could you imagine that on a scale of cars?
Oh my gosh.
Well, you have to have flying traffic signals and flying roads. So basically roads where
Would
there's
you?
lights. Well, didn't you see Back to the Future? They had lights that lined up the road and, the signals were...
Never seen Back to the Future?
Sorry.
No.
Oh, man.
Skip the third one.
No.
I think
Do not.
I think that we should all. I think the government should mandate that by 2026 we should all have flying cars.
I can tell by Ryan's face when he starts a sentence that he doesn't know how it's going to end. Am I wrong?
Not only that, he led off with, I think the government should mandate.
He goes, I really think, and then he gets a smirk on his face, and it's like he's just discovered what he's about to impart upon us.
That's not real far off. I apologize.
What were you going to say?
I said it. I said the government should mandate that we have flying cars by 2026.
He sounds drunk.
He would be plausible. He just ate a huge piece of cake.
Oh, that explains a lot. That cake's been out there for 2 days.
It didn't bother Wiggins.
Yeah, it's going downhill. It was good.
Right
it
now,
was,
like
it was
physically?
Good. It was good
Do you
day
need
one.
a minute? We can
Why is
break.
he sweating like that?
Anyhow.
Oh, man. I had so many thoughts about flying cars, and I can't remember any of them now.
It's because they were live.
I just want to see. No, look, we don't need. Here's my point. We don't need roads. We don't need them. You can turn them all into gardens, and everybody can be fat and happy.
Is that the end goal?
Yep.
Is that the life's work achievement for
Growing
you?
beets and carrots, and everybody's happy.
You're eating beets and carrots out of road gardens
Pickled.
in a jar you can't open.
Because you glued it.
New live-action Barney movie won't be for children.
What the?
Barney
scared.
is making a comeback, but this time around, the dinosaur won't be there for the kids.
Is he murdering people?
Per the New Yorker, no, I don't believe so. Per the New Yorker, an executive from Mattel said a new Barney movie is in the works. It'll be geared toward adults. It's not rated R, but it'll focus on some of the trials and tribulations of being 30-something.
This is the worst thing ever!
Up with Barney.
This is exactly what happens with you people.
Just the level of disenchantment within the generation. Annie, are you okay with a Barney movie for
How hurt are
adults?
we as people?
You could point on the Barney doll.
I'd like to point to the Barney doll. What is
Not if it's a
wrong with
real
us?
T-Rex, though.
What? No. Are you a Barney generation? You
I
might
was,
be.
yeah.
I watched Barney.
You did?
Yes, I'm scared of him.
Well,
That's not my recollection of it.
I would say
You might be thinking of a different show.
the three of
Barney
us,
changed.
Ryan, Brad, and myself, we're too old for Barney, right?
Yeah. Way too old.
Ryan has Barney on his socks right now.
I wouldn't have watched that when I was
every night.
8 or 9. The other boys would have made fun of me. I wouldn't do that. I didn't do that.
Why are you doing
I'm just confirming your point. You were making a good point.
You're
I'm
not
agreeing with you.
confirming my point. You're
I am.
actually maybe contradicting my
No
point.
way. No way. That show's for nerds. Nerd kids.
Did you watch Barney?
No, I wouldn't do that.
Trisha, did he watch Barney?
He for sure watched Barney, yeah.
Sing
Brad?
the song.
No.
Did he
I don't
watch
even
Barney?
know the
Oh,
I didn't
for
even know they
sure.
sang songs.
I love you.
See, that
Everybody-
sounds vaguely familiar because other
Everybody
people
knows the Barney song.
Oh, I didn't because I never watched it.
You are protesting too much.
She's sweating again.
No, so what? It's going to help adults through their troubles?
Through their level of disenchantment within the generation. It's supposed to be. They did a version of this with Rocco's Modern Life, which I thought they did a good job with. That was a cartoon, a Nickelodeon cartoon from my childhood. They brought it back. The episode was nostalgic and spoke to the adults who had previously watched the show.
Did you say this is a live action version?
It's a real dinosaur.
It's a real dinosaur.
Like a live one.
Real dinosaur, but it's interacting with other 30-something dinosaurs or people.
Hey, what he's describing doesn't sound any dumber than what Trisha described.
Exactly. I'm just trying to get a little context.
Barney interacts with
what
people.
is Barney
So the
doing?
people treat him just like a normal millennial?
Like a coworker.
Oh man, it so stinks having to work 40 hours, huh, dinosaur? Like they're just gonna say that kind of stuff to him, and he's gonna cope with it.
It's basically Friends, but with a purple dinosaur instead of Joey.
Yeah. Should I tip the barista or not?
Is it going to be in theaters?
Yeah, I think so.
Is this what you see after you see Sound of Freedom?
Yep. You guys okay with this or not?
I am very unsure about anything right now.
I think I've never been against anything more than I am.
This is a need I didn't know that we had.
I don't know anything about Barney, so I don't know.
He's already got his tickets. He wrote that article for triathlete.com.
By Brian Biggins.
Matt Gaetz wants to end cannabis testing for military.
Is it possible that we could get a Barney costume?
For Ryan, probably. We have friends at Johnny Brock's, don't we?
I have a lot.
You might dress me up in it, and I would do it, but I don't know what it is. I would walk around having no clue about the lore or the canon that Barney has.
I don't think you can dress up as a real character. We're just gonna see if we could get Barney to show up one day.
Okay, but again, I would see Barney and I would go, "What is that?" Because I wouldn't know.
You're in the movie, aren't you?
I can just feel the happiness radiating off of you talking about Barney
That's
coming
the
in
sugar
studio.
No, yeah, that's sugar high.
The cake.
It's the 2-day-old cake.
And it's like
it
a
has
ton
not
of
been
sodium.
refrigerated.
Yeah. Yep.
Next.
Okay, Matt Gaetz wants to end cannabis testing for military. The Florida Republican wants to amend the National Defense Authorization Act to address the growing issue of recruits testing positive for marijuana use, especially in states where it's legal. Nearly 33% more recruits tested positive in 2022 than in 2020. Annie, are you okay with ending drug testing for weed for military recruits?
We're all hanging on your every word here. So.
Well, I kind of guess I'm very emphatically marijuana. I don't know anything about marijuana, and I understand that there is an application for the benefits of marijuana that exceed just wanting to sit around, eat Cheetos, and get high. So if you're using CBD for a purpose to alleviate a pain that maybe a different pill would let you, that they would allow, should that be okay? I feel like this is something that I could be convinced to be okay with, but immediately I would say, no, I'm not okay with that. But I just think it's more complicated, and it's very difficult to have a conversation with people because there's such a divide between people who are just anti it all the time. And then I also know people who I could out right now, but I'm not going to, who use it, but they use it instead of chemical-based medication that is addictive. And I'm like, I don't know that taking that Ambien is really better than that gummy. Mm-hmm. I don't.
Let's leave gummies alone here. Let's leave gummies out of this conversation. Gummies are good for everybody.
You're the arbiter for gummies.
Not weed gummies, just gummies.
I was talking specifically about weed gummies, which I feel may actually be more beneficial than regular gummies.
Let me ask you this, Trisha.
Is this about Barney?
No. Again, what even is that?
Talk to me more about this purple dinosaur.
Are we talking about just the recruits dropping it or for people in the military?
According to this article that I have very limited information on, just recruits.
See,
so
it'd be
testing
fine, right?
To go into the military.
Because once you get in, it'd be like, okay, now you're done.
You're done, right? That's kind of how I imagine that this push is.
Good point, because I'm okay with dropping that. Like, you've got to get in there.
Whoa, hey, segment's over. Let's get out of here.
Moving on.
You're so weird.
Brad said it. We got to do it.
Living on the edge right now.
Yeah.
If you're talking about getting people in there, I mean, I can only imagine that there are people who have gone into the military who have, prior to that decision, made some bad decisions that have credited the military with getting them on the correct path. I know those people. I love those people. We need more of those people. So Matt Gaetz for king.
Clip that for next time he's getting some sort of scandal.
Yeah.
And he said that she wanted to elect him king.
Kevin Schmidt's out there going, hey.
In the same breath as Matt Gaetz?
Yeah, but I'm running the State House District 113 or 14 or whatever it is. LaToya Greenwood's like, yeah, that's right, Matt Gaetz.
All right,
a lot of insight.
We're cool.
Yeah, that's like, you got to listen to 3 hours a day to get those jokes.
Super deep, nerdy stuff. Anywho.
You want another one?
Yeah, I don't care. I have no control over
Brad
this
said
show.
the segment's
well,
over.
If Brad plays the music, you're done.
All right, we'll do one more then.
Okay.
Hi, I can't hear the music. I forgot. I'm Hannah. I forgot my headphones.
Even better. All right.
Heinz clarifies the age-old debate, ketchup in the fridge or not ketchup in the fridge. You guys have a thought on this before we clarified? Do we store ketchup in the fridge?
I had internally decided to pass on Heinz's marketing ploy of getting every media outlet to talk about this. But since we are discussing it because Trisha brought it in here, our ketchup is in the fridge. I feel like it's gross to not have ketchup in the fridge, but we did just discuss the fact that my family has a butter dish that does not go in the fridge. We don't put a...
Yeah, that's strange to me, but I know people do that.
My grandma did it, and so I felt like that was the right way to do it. Maybe that's wrong.
It's easier to spread butter that way.
Better.
Yeah. Well, with the unnamed ketchup company, because we're definitely not going to give them any credit for this. It says it does go in the fridge, but the debate is really like restaurants. They keep all those bottles, all those open bottles out for weeks at a time.
They're filthy
Is it a problem?
anyway.
Yeah, did they clarify or not?
FYI, ketchup goes in the fridge.
I was going to say,
Don't
don't
caps,
so they should.
exclamation points.
don't they put them in the refrigerator at the end of the night?
No, they do not.
Ooh.
The ones I worked at did.
It's because you put them in the fridge.
Yeah, you might have.
They
but
told me to.
No restaurant I've ever worked at has put ketchup in the fridge.
Does it apply to all sauces or just that one?
No,
Because
all
I was wondering
sauces.
about steak sauce.
Steak
Because some
sauce,
other ones
same
will
way.
sit there too.
They just
you know?
sit out.
Heinz 57.
Same. A1.
Andreas.
Andreas. Yeah, that's
Yeah.
not really a dipping sauce. Usually you use
No,
that
it's a marinade.
in the kitchen.
It's
but-
delightful
yeah.
too.
Nobody else leaves their butter out?
No. You're the first person I've ever heard of to do that.
It's delicious.
I might try it.
It's better. Somebody back me up on the chat, please. I'm just waiting for Brad to play music. But
Well,
he
none of
wants
us have
more
ever
this.
tried it. We have no experience with it. So we have nothing to say.
We should bring some butter and just set it in here.
Okay. Hannah?
See who eats it. It's radio. Somebody will.
Yeah, they will.
Can you play the music? Can we go?
I mean, I'll do another one. It's McDonald's is adding jalapenos to the quarter pounder. too.
Jalapenos, the quarter pounder.
Yay or nay?
To the quarter pounder as an option.
As an option. A new spicy quarter pounder.
Well, I don't like that. I wouldn't, but I get why people would.
Yeah, it's got a cheese sauce. It's
Well, you can't hear it, but the music is playing now.
Oh, good. Okay.
We appreciate your time and service.
Thank you very
Can't
much
wait to
for
see the
having
Barney
me.
movie featuring Ryan Wiggins. We'll be
Super
back in a
fun.
minute with the poll results. Whose cocaine was it? Go vote. Tell us why you think what you think with Hannah and the results. We come back.
This is the Annie Frey Show. Follow Annie on Twitter at Annie Frey Show.
STS-armory.com, 618-931-GUNS. That's the number to reach them. If you have a question, you want to just ask them without going to their Pontoon Beach store right away, 618-931-GUNS. You can ask them or sign up for the classes that they offer. Top-notch instructors to provide you the information you need and the qualification you need for things like getting your conceal and carry in the state of Illinois. You need to get a FOID card. You don't have any idea how to do that? STS Armory will walk you through the whole process to make sure that you are literally dotting all the I's and crossing all the T's and checking all of the boxes. And of course, in the state of Illinois, there are a lot of boxes to check. STS Armory is your guide for this whole process. They also are your experts that you can access to help you get the firearms purchase that you're looking for, to get the safe that you're looking for, and the accessories that you need to exercise your Second Amendment rights. They train every experience level from never touched a firearm to advanced. All of their employees are certified firearm instructors. You have access to them in Pontoon Beach at the corner of Highway 111 and South Drive. It's where I shop for my firearms, ammunition, and accessories, and I hope you'll give them a chance to earn your business as well. 618-931-GUNS, STS-armory.com.
The Ted Savage Cardinals Care Classic is coming to Whitmore Country Club on July 31st. Enjoy a round of golf and mingle with Cardinals celebrities while raising funds for charity. Registration includes golf with a Cardinals celebrity, on-course and pre- and post-golf refreshments, a golf swag bag, and more. Visit cardinals.com/golf to register. That's cardinals.com/golf.
I'm Brian Westbrook with Coalition Life. Over the past decade, Coalition Life has served thousands of women in crisis pregnancies, helping to save the lives of the children that they carry. Help us build a better community while also reducing or completely eliminating your Missouri taxes with a 70% tax credit. A $1,000 donation today to help these women could cost you as little as $141 out of pocket. Learn more at coalitionlife.com, coalitionlife.com. Thank you.
Mark Reardon sees clearly thanks to Doctors Birdie and Maholtred Ophthalmology Associates. You can too. Go to youridoc.com today. That's youridoc.com or call 314-966-5000. Ophthalmology Associates.
There was cocaine found in the White House. Whose is it? Let us know on the Annie Frey Show YouTube live chat poll. The time is 2:48. This update is sponsored by Jerry Kelly Heating and Air Conditioning.
It's time for a $98 AC tune-up.
The Mark Reardon Show.
United States Senator Eric Schmidt.
If you're a Democrat, you can get away with things you can't get away with as a Republican. It's just, I think it's ripping at the fabric of what holds this country together, which is our belief that the law will be applied equally.
Weekdays from 3 to 6.
St. Louis's home for conservative talk.
This is the Annie Frey Show. Follow Annie on Instagram at The Annie Frey Show.
Welcome back to the Annie Frey Show. So the question that is at hand for many people is the cocaine found at the White House. Who does it belong to? Fox News says overseas sports book betonline.ag gives Hunter Biden plus 70 odds as the owner, placing him as the most likely wrongdoer among their listed suspects, which also appears to contain joke offenders peppered throughout the list. Have you heard people suggesting it's Trump's? Like Donald Trump's going to get framed for this cocaine.
Oh, yeah.
There are real accusations that people have made for years now that Don Jr. was addicted to cocaine, was a coke user. Have you ever seen those?
I've heard it, but never anything substantial.
Well, I mean, just people making jokes and allegations about him and his usage of cocaine.
Mm-hmm.
It's never anybody who's saying that as if it's possible in a flattering way.
No.
It is a disparaging thing to say about Don Jr. that he might be using cocaine.
Yes.
Enter Hunter Biden's laptop. And they're like, nothing to see here. Like, we can actually see it. And he's doing coke in ways that I didn't even know one could do coke.
Yeah, you got to give
innovative.
him. He's very creative with the way he does the blow.
That's why he's an artist.
That's right.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Well, maybe one feeds the other.
Hannah, the YouTube live chat poll, we'll get Ryan's reaction to it once you set it up for us.
Yes, the YouTube live chat poll is asking, whose cocaine was it? Was it a White House visitor's, Hunter Biden's, a staffer, or does it not matter?
There is a white mountain of evidence that one of those people has done a ton of cocaine. I'm going to go with, I'm no law enforcement agent here, but I'm going to go with the history of the one person on the list who has done
the known coke user in the White House,
a whole bunch of cocaine
that we know,
who was also in the White House very recently before they found the cocaine. I don't know about all the footage and everything, but I do know those few facts. And based on what I know, I'm going to go with Hunter Biden.
From Fox News reports on Sunday, a member of the Secret Service found cocaine in the West Wing of the White House in an area used by guests and staff, which led to the evacuation of the building and an emergency response because they didn't know what it was. Later to find out it is, in fact, cocaine. What do the people think, Hannah?
Brandon Anderson from our YouTube channel says no way it belongs to anybody but Hunter. Mark S. says that it doesn't matter. Nobody will be arrested and punished anyway. Brian Dowd said, I think it was a staffer who was getting it for Hunter. Jaded said...
That's kind of a dual answer, isn't it?
Yeah.
I wonder what you voted on the poll, Brian. Jaded says that it doesn't matter. We all know whose it was. The fact that they are alluding that it was a tourist speaks a lot of volume. Bob says the cocaine bandit will never be revealed, just like the SCOTUS leaker was not found.
What if
Maybe
it's the same person?
Dun, dun, dun.
Was Hunter Biden at the Supreme Court during the Roe v. Wade deliberations? Wouldn't that be funny if after all of this is found out that we do find out that Hunter Biden was the SCOTUS leaker?
But he wasn't the cocaine bringer.
Wow.
The cocaine.
Michael Holtmeyer says,
Mule.
I think it's Hunter's, but he had a staffer get it for him. Ultimately, I think a staffer will become a scapegoat to take
What's the going
fall.
rate to take the fall for the Biden family these days? Ryan, are you interested?
Yeah, for the right price.
Yeah.
But again, I would need to know what that is. What do you
Cocaine?
think it is?
The going rate?
Yeah. I don't want your drugs.
Your life?
I don't want to give up my life.
No, you get to keep it.
Oh, I get to keep my... So they're just not going to murder me.
Never mind.
Jeez.
It's too much.
Well, then I'll do whatever they want.
Chip from YouTube.
Ryan Wiggins. Cocaine.
Jeez.
I did it all for the Coke. The
Chip
what? Coke. The what?
It's Hunter's. After he was given a ridiculous plea deal, this would violate that agreement. The two-tier justice system is again protecting America's most corrupt family. So he voted that it is Hunter Biden. Dan says, if it's crack cocaine, it's definitely Hunter's. Larry says, we will never know the truth because this administration cannot tell the truth. And Amy wishes that she could live in the magical world that those do that believe this was anyone other than Hunter Biden. So she's pretty confident that it was Hunter Biden's cocaine. RS has a different angle. He said the cocaine is Vice President Kamala Harris's. That is why she's laughing all the time. This totally makes sense. The answer is in plain sight. Final answer, Kamala Harris.
Not an option.
No.
Would she be a staffer?
If you had to put her in one of those categories, maybe White House visitor.
Does the cocaine, does it matter? Like, real question, does it matter whose cocaine it was?
Yeah, I think it does.
Yeah. It matters if it was Hunter's. If it was anybody else's, they just need to be punished and sent out of the room.
What's the difference?
Hunter has a long history of selling out his soul to foreign nations for Coke money. Coke money. So.
But not like K-Coke money.
Say what?
Like
I
the
don't
Koch
know.
brothers? Never mind.
No, I don't know.
They get it. Does it matter whose Coke it is?
Yeah, if it's Hunter's, it matters because of the history and the background.
But if it's Johnny Smith's cocaine and he's a staffer and he...
Well, I
yeah,
think even if it's Kamala's, if it's Joe Biden's, if it's anybody that has, I think it's important.
Here's a question that I have. Who leaves cocaine behind?
Somebody who has a ton of it.
Or has it and doesn't know what they're doing with it? Like is not using it. Like when people suggest that maybe it was somebody getting it for somebody else, they're alluding at Hunter Biden. I don't know people who will go to the lengths and the expense to get that kind of drug who are casually leaving it behind.
That's a really good point.
I don't think somebody who knows what they're doing does that.
Even holding a bag of anything illegal in the White House, I would be peeing my pants.
Well, you're not exactly the villain that we make you out to be, Ryan.
All right, whose cocaine?
Why is Ryan urinating?
No reason. No
Check
reason.
his pockets.
No reason.
Whose cocaine was it? 48% of the people voted that it was Hunter Biden's cocaine. 20% say it doesn't matter. 18% say it was a staffer. 14% say it was a White House visitor. Hunters it is, 48%.
All right, solve that.
It's been decided. He needs a Barney movie. Thank you for listening to the show today. Check us out on podcasts wherever you get your podcasts from. And keep it right here on 97.1 FM Talk and the Odyssey app for The Mark Reardon Show. Next.
This is a special alert to all Americans who own a vehicle with less than 200,000